told to report for jury duty. The outage affected about 800 customers, including buildings on Truxton Avenue. According to PG&E's outage, they had not given a cause for the outage. What some of the residents of Bakersfield believe the city could be spending your tax money on, for librarian Ariel Dyer, it's not the flock cameras.
Today I'm speaking on behalf of everyone in Bakersfield who never knew of or consented to the massive surveillance infrastructure built and maintained by city leadership. I believe that our right to privacy and transparency supersedes a government's entitlement to surveil their constituents.
She was one of a group of people who spoke to the council at a state-mandated public hearing on the budget, which happened during Wednesday's city council meeting. The public comments followed a presentation on the more than $900 million budget. Eric Oriano says the council should be concerned about people who can't afford the sewer rate increases.
City Council is not doing anything to mitigate the cost impacts that residents will face. And so we're asking that you implement a rate assistance program.
The council voted against approving an assistance program last month. Former Kern County DA Ed Jagel's DUI case will be prosecuted by the Tulare County District Attorney's Office because of the conflict of interest in a prosecution by his former employer. The Kern County DA's office, reports 23 ABC. A prepared statement from the Kern County office cited the conflict of interest. Jagels was arrested on a DUI charge June 1st on Stockdale Highway. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
Welcome to the rest world. In a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's going to give you what you want.
Too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing for those subscribing on YouTube. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. We're streaming live at kernradio.com and broadcasting live on YouTube. We got a busy broadcast, and finally, after lying to you and being discombobulated, Ambassador Jamieson Greer will join us at 4:15. Daniel Petrie, it's a Thursday, will follow at 4:30. And we've got a lot going on today, particularly coming out of Washington. We will get to the president's assertion that there could be a deal as early as this weekend. What a deal means, I suppose only the Iranians and the president knows. I'm going to finally get into the settlement with the Iskanders. Who are the Iskanders, you ask? They're the family that Rebecca Grossman, the wife of Peter Grossman, the physician that took over his father's burn center, internationally renowned burn center, and just happened to be a classmate of mine from 6th grade to 10th grade. And you know, I wasn't going to say this. Because why? But now it's relevant because I'm going to play some audio of Dr. Grossman getting into it with Brian Panish, who is the attorney representing the Iskander family. Let me start. Rebecca Grossman was cheating on her husband, Peter Grossman, with Scott Erickson, former Dodger pitcher, who's now kind of just an ex-ball player living on his pension and finagling with other people's wives, apparently. And they're coming from having cocktails in Westlake Village. They're racing one another in their $100,000 cars. And the Iskander family is crossing in a crosswalk with 4 of their children. Make a long story short, Rebecca Grossman, Erickson damn near hit them. Rebecca Grossman did hit them and killed them. Erickson, like the punk that he is, fled the scene. Man, it's a long story of the trial and him changing plates from the car that he was driving with another car so they couldn't investigate the car who was actually involved in the accident. And Rebecca Grossman was found guilty of second-degree murder. She's doing 15 years to life. But this is the civil suit in which originally a jury awarded the family $176 million. Well, now this is the punitive stage that they just concluded. And you'll hear Peter Grossman going at it with Brian Panish, the attorney for the Iskander family. And what I was going to say that I've neglected to say or purposely not said is he was a Weasley little kid. He really was. He was one of those kids that was just kind of Weasley, mealy-mouthed kid. And the only reason I bring that up is because you'll see why when I play the audio, because he's lying through his teeth. Panish caught the family. And how these people, how many times have you seen this where people get busted on prison civilian phone calls? Like, you don't know that the prison monitors these phone calls. So there are phone calls between he and his wife, who again is doing 15 years to life, talking about hiding their money because they knew that the civil trial was coming up. And you'll hear a tete-a-tete between these guys, and you'll say, yeah, I could see how that kid was a little mealy mouth when he was in 10th grade. But then I'll give you the results of the because remember, this part is the punitive stage. This is the compensation stage. This is the punitive stage where they're punishing them, and punish them they did. We'll get into that at some point. And the Trump administration, the president has nominated U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton as Director of National Intelligence. That's a huge story. I don't know if you've been following this, but Bill Pulte was basically a housing authority who had literally no intelligence experience. And I don't mean that trying to be funny. I mean central intel, intel. And it was causing a huge problem with the Republicans. And the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act is due to expire tomorrow. And the Senate was saying, we're not passing this if you're going to put this guy in charge, because there's no way we're letting it. In fact, the law disallows folks without intelligence background to be in that position. I don't even know how he thought this was going to get through anyway. Well, he relented, and he's appointed Jay Clayton. Will impact that. And Carmelo Anthony is appealing it. No, not that Carmelo Anthony. See, never tell me not to do something. If you're a listener and you tell me not to do something or stop saying something, I'm just going to say it more. So not that Carmelo Anthony, but the Carmelo Anthony was found guilty and given a 35-year sentence. He's appealed that. And, of course, there are a lot of black folks that are still screaming race, and that's why this and that and that and this. And Phil Mickelson, you're the sports guy. Did you see the Phil Mickelson story?
I have not.
I don't know what's happened to Phil Mickelson. He has spiraled out of control. He's been banned from a golf course down near San Diego, where he lives, down near La Jolla, for inappropriate touching of one of their employees.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, this guy is in, I don't know what happened to this guy. This guy could have been one of the faces of golf. But look at what this generation, Tiger, mess, Phil, mess, Sergio Garcia, who tore up a tee box at the Masters, mess. It's like these guys don't know how to act. What happened to Jack Nicklaus, Lee Trevino, guys with class, guys that are still alive with enormous amount of class, never in any kind of trouble. And these guys, these idiots, it's one thing after another. Never seen it before. And what a horrible night I had last night.
Porque why?
Really? Let me break it down to you.
You mushed him.
I have become a Spurs fan since I witnessed. I was rooting for the Knicks. When the season started, when the series started, I was rooting for the Knicks. I used to live in New York. My father was a Knicks fan. I've been to Madison Square Garden. Well, kind of, sort of. I went to go. My dad took us to the circus. I know. He made it. I kind of implied like I've been to a Knicks game. No, I never been to a Knicks game. But I did go see my namesake, Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus at Madison Square. Anyway, so I was rooting for the Knicks. And then I witnessed behavior that is just absolutely unacceptable. 21 arrests, mobbing people that had Spurs stuff on, tearing their jerseys off, bloodying them, beating the crap out of them. No, I want the Knicks fans to be miserable. And now they couldn't possibly be happier. And what's the name of the child that's coaching the Spurs? What's his name?
Mitch Johnson.
Fired! I wouldn't let him get off the plane in Texas. I'd have him stop in Wichita and tell him to get out. That game was handed to the Knicks. I think my neighbors heard me because at one point I literally, lying in my bed by myself, screamed, "Would you please stop shooting threes?" I have never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. And you have a 7'4" man on your team. Oh, wait a minute. He starts. He's the center of your offense, and he's taking no shots down the stretch. It was the most amazing thing. I've never seen anything like it. We've never seen anything like it because it's the greatest comeback in the history of basketball. It was mind-boggling. Absolute. And then the final shot, they don't get a shot off. I would not let that what's Shaw's name?
Johnson.
Wouldn't let him on the plane. What am I talking about? Drop him off Wichita. I wouldn't let him on the plane. Good God. But it still can be done. You go back to the Alamo, you win there, 3-2. Because really, this should be 3-1 Spurs. Don't forget, they were leading with 2 minutes to go in game one. Wemby misses the shot to lose game two. What was game three?
Game 3 was their win in Madison Square.
What happened at the end of that?
Last night was 4.
Oh, that was the game they won.
Yes.
So that's 2-1, and then last night. So 3 games they gave away. The 2 in Madison Square Garden, or the 2 down in Alamo, and last night. Just gave them away. Just absolutely gave them away. It's just. Can you imagine the Lakers coming down the stretch and not giving the ball to Kareem? Particularly if he was in his prime, this kid's 22, 23 years old, and they don't just. I swear to God, I would say, all right, let's get in here, guys. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to dribble, and just throw it up at the rim as high as you can. Just throw it about 8 feet. Let's see who gets it. Let's just do that. The Lakers used to have a play like that for Kareem. They used a back pick. They'd put Kareem it was Pat Riley's play. They put Kareem at the top of the free throw line, which was crazy. Why is Kareem at the top of the free throw line? And they would have him circle around, and then they would have Coop come down the baseline and set a screen on Parrish, and then Magic would just toss it up. The guy is 7'4". There's nobody on the court that can match up with him. God. And then, so then I've got the Dodgers on DVR. I'm watching that, having a wonderful time, 6-1. And the Dodgers blow a 6-1 lead, 5-run, 6-1 lead. 5-run lead with Shohei on the bump. He left. He gave up a couple of runs. It was 6-3. And then Vesia and the firemen came in and poured gasoline all over the damn game. And my night was ruined. Absolutely ruined. How do I I had no skin in the game when this series started. Absolutely no skin in the game. And then the whole beatings made me so angry. I was like, God. And those same people, this is what I don't know why I take it personally. I'm a very, very strange man. But those very people that beat up those Spurs fans are the happiest human beings on the planet right now. They are so happy they don't know what to do. And that makes me miserable. It really does, because I'm a very strange man. All right, let's go ahead and get started. When we come back, we will talk about the president canceling attacks on Iran. Once again, did you get the compilation?
I did.
How does it sound?
I mean, it sounded okay off my phone. I haven't necessarily got to hear it through radio waves yet,
Okay.
So we'll see. Should be okay, though. I think you'll get it.
We are cautiously optimistic. Because as you will hear after the break, we've heard this song before. And remember, day one, I said he's got to play it straight. And he just hasn't. And now he's insisting we have a deal by the weekend. No criticisms. I'm just going to say I'm cautiously optimistic. And what does the deal look like? Does anybody really believe the deal includes any discussion of nuclear? I believe the deal will include discussions on their nuclear deal. They're playing us. But I hope I'm wrong. I swear to God, I hope I'm wrong. My mother would hit me for saying that. Never swear to God, Ralph. Quick timeout. We're just getting started on a Thursday. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 at AM 1230, and we are streaming live at kernradio.com.
Adapted first.
KERN.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe."
Is Greer calling us?
Yes, but we have that emergency number I gave you.
Okay, cool.
Band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Every other Wednesday, Ryan and Jennifer Van Alstyne, owner-operators of Adaptive Networks, the team that keeps us on the air. Kern Radio Studios are powered by Adaptive Networks, as well you should be. If you're a serious business person and you're taking your IT seriously, you really need to look into the folks at Adaptive Networks. They are incredible. We had Mary Madland in here from Toyota Lyft on Wednesday talking about the virtues of signing up with these folks, what they've done for her, and how they've absolutely changed their business. And every other Wednesday, Ryan and Jennifer are going to come in with a plan, just breaking down what you should know as a business owner, because some folks don't even realize the deficiencies they have in their IT. So pick up the phone and call the folks at Adaptive Networks at 661-241-0638. That's 661-241-0638. Or hit them online at adaptive-net.com. Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne and the folks at Adaptive Networks.
Look, folks, you already know that your garage door is a very important part of your home, from the overall look of the place to the safety and security it provides. So obviously, you should only trust the service, repair, and maintenance of your garage door to the pros at King Door Company. Their skill and product knowledge are unmatched in the industry, and that's no accident. The techs at King Door are rigorously trained at the King Door Academy. That's right. King Door has an in-house training facility to make sure your job is done right on the first try. They're trained in all the latest equipment, tools, and techniques. They even learn how to listen to customer concerns through role-playing exercises. And you'll see how well all this training works when they show up right on time in fully stocked service trucks with all the parts and equipment to service or repair any garage door. Like I said, your garage door is a very important part of your home, so leave it to the pros at King Door Company. Schedule your appointment today at kingdoor.com. King Door Company, the company with the pride of a lion.
Most people don't want more financial information. They want clarity. They want to know they're making the right moves and that someone's actually paying attention. That's what we do at MoneyWise. We help you organize your financial life, plan for what's ahead, and make decisions with confidence, whether retirement is around the corner or still years away. And now you'll find us in a new place, the historic Woolworths building, right in the heart of downtown Bakersfield. A piece of local history reimagined for what's next. MoneyWise, thoughtful planning, real conversations. Visit moneywiseguys.com to get started.
Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through LPL Financial. LPL Financial and MoneyWise Wealth Management are independently owned and operated.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
One other quick sports note. This doesn't have to necessarily be a sports note, and it's good news. Just hear this. Henry Ruggs denied.
Thank God.
I forgot the reason I assumed he was getting out. Why do you think I assumed he was getting out?
Because he was getting tryouts from NFL teams.
That was part of it. You're right. That's not a bad answer. But the real reason is I thought that he was in California for some reason.
Oh, true.
I'm thinking Raiders, and they're not even in, the Raiders aren't even in California any longer. But for whatever reason, I thought he was being adjudicated here in California and going for our parole board, which wanted Sirhan. For those that haven't been reading the newspaper, was the killer of Robert Kennedy. They wanted to kick him loose. So I figured Ruggs was clearly going to get out. But no, he's in Nevada. He's in the Silver State, Jack. And they were like, negative, try again. And he gets to try again next August. In the meantime, as we talked about, the president has canceled his attacks. Let me read what he wrote on Truth Social. Based on the fact that discussions with the Islamic Republic of Iran have been brought to the highest level of Iranian leadership and approved. Okay. I have, as President of the United States of America, canceled the scheduled strikes and bombings against Iran this evening. Approved. Okay. Problem is, we've heard this once, 7, 15, 27, 38 times. 38 times the president has said we're close to a deal. Here's just a small compilation.
We have major points of agreement. I would say almost all points of agreement. And they want to make a deal so badly. You have no idea how badly they want to make a deal.
Did you foresee a deal in Iran this upcoming week?
I do see a deal in Iran. Most of the points are already negotiated and agreed to. We're very close to making a deal. We were very close to a deal. I don't think there are any sticking points. We're very close to having a very, very big, strong, powerful deal.
And remember the last one, we were laughing, Chris and I were laughing because you can hear the echo in my bedroom. I had to, for whatever reason, we couldn't find the audio, so I had to record it off of my television. And thankfully, Abby Phillip ran it again. That's not from yesterday. I mean, that's from yesterday. That's not from 2 days ago. She ran it again last night.
I might have been able to find it then.
I thought about that, but I was like, no, because I don't think they put stuff like that on. I think they just put the content.
Especially compilations that they make themselves. They usually keep to themselves.
Yeah, and they normally just have the content of the show on. They don't really run the bites. But 38 times we've heard him say this. So that's why I say that I'm cautiously optimistic. It would be wonderful if there was a deal. I don't see how this thing ends. As I said earlier in the week, this is the first week, honestly, that I just don't see an off-ramp. These people are born liars. You should have heard John Kennedy, the senator from Louisiana, who's one of the funniest guys in government. And he was just talking about, I wouldn't believe them if they told me their mother died. He was just going off today on Fox. And I mean, let's pause for a minute, I suppose, and be optimistic about this thing. I mean, we always want this thing to finish, obviously. As I've told you, I don't think there's going to be any more bombings. I think the president understands that he's underwater on this issue in the first place, and he needs to get out. We're headed to the midterms. And as I referenced yesterday, it is almost comical that we're using the Iranians are using the very tactic that got this country up on its feet. If you really go investigate George Washington, and I'm not trying to down George Washington, don't even start with that, but it's just a fact. Just ask an historian, if you don't believe the pseudo-historian, that George Washington was a horrible military man. He truly was, but he was an incredibly charismatic, intelligent man who finally realized after a year or two in the Revolutionary War, we don't have to win. We don't have to win. We just have to become a royal pain in the ass to King George, where he just says, enough of this. And that's exactly what the Iranians are doing with us. You don't think they know the midterms are coming up? You don't think they know that there's a presidential election coming up in about less than 24 months? They can afford to just wait us out. And when the president doesn't play it straight and says that we've demolished them, we've killed them, they have no army, they have no navy, and yet they shot down one of our F-15s, they shot down one of our Apache helicopters with a $20,000 drone. I mean, you're sending the wrong message. We look like punks. We look like we're getting played. When we say that Marco Rubio went before a Senate committee and said the war is over. Really? Well, tell those 2 helicopter pilots who were stuck in the ocean for about 2 hours, had to be rescued by a sea drone. This thing isn't over by a long shot. And the Israelis are still bombing Lebanon. They're still going after Hezbollah. The Iranians don't want this thing to end. Time is on their side. They're using the George Washington tactic. The closer we get to the midterms, the more Trump is going to bail out on this thing. Because now you're going to have senators, you're going to have congressmen, you're killing me. You're going to have Susan Collins saying, you're killing me. Graham Plattner's going to win if we don't get out or do something. The problem is the president needs a win. He's got to have something to point at and say, look, this is what we got. And opening of the Strait of Hormuz isn't enough. Be a Democrat. What would you say if you're a Democrat right now? You'd say, well, hell, the Strait of Hormuz was open before we started. We didn't gain anything. We just went back to the status quo. After all this, 13 service members dead. So I'm assuming if there is a deal, there has to be something where the president can stand up and say, this is what we accomplished. And again, remember what they want, what the Iranians want. It's $24 billion of frozen assets. I wonder what they would use that $24 billion for. President claims the uranium is buried so far deep that only China and the United States could dig it out. But I bet $24 billion would go a long way, if in fact that's even the fact. This uranium is so much buried. But $24 billion might excavate it, I'll tell you that, boy. We'll head in the back half of the hour. Don't forget, coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, the U.S. Trade Representative, Ambassador Jamieson Greer, will join us.
Jamieson.
What did I say?
Jamieson.
That's the first guest, Jamieson Greer. He plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then we're going to talk to Jamieson Greer, the U.S. Trade Representative. Don't go anywhere.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
News. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump said Thursday he had called off new military strikes on Iran, claiming a breakthrough in negotiations to end the war. Just
all right, I'm going to try.
After the American leader threatened to escalate the conflict by seizing control of Iran's oil industry. A Minnesota man who assassinated the top Democrat in the Minnesota House and her husband.
There's no way I'd go to
lawsuit so that federal prosecutors
that's directly into the sun. The whole
penalty.
walk is directly into the sun.
Shot Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark Hortman. He is also charged in the non-fatal shootings of State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette Hoffman. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 929 points. The Nasdaq rose 640. The S&P advanced 127. More details at srnnews.com.
Progressive knows that boat days. Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. Concerns from citizens about how city tax money will be spent in Bakersfield.
Publish camera locations and usage logs. Hold public hearings before any renewal. Commit that no new surveillance technology comes to Bakersfield without hearings.
Jason Cosper is one of several people who spoke at a public hearing during Wednesday's city council meeting about the proposed nearly $1 billion city budget. Other people were concerned about public safety and cost of living, with one suggestion that the council revisit a public assistance program for people who can't afford the sewer rate increases. The Kern County DA's office is declining to prosecute former DA Ed Jagels on his DUI charge from June 1st, reports 23 ABC, citing conflicts of interest. Instead, it'll be prosecuted by the Tulare County DA. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Please be advised. You may want to stop eating the following foods immediately: broccoli, kale, bean sprouts, blueberries, quinoa, spinach.
Wait, what? I thought those were good for me.
Turns out not for everyone, because what's healthy for one person can cause inflammation for another. And the only way to really know what your body needs is to listen to it.
Listen how?
That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple at-home gut health test that looks at your body's real-time biology using RNA to understand what's happening inside you right now. When your results come in, you'll learn exactly which foods to eat, which to avoid, and which supplements are right for you, all based on the world's largest RNA-based human biology database and thousands of clinical research studies. And many people who use Viome report more energy, better digestion, and better mood within months. So stop guessing. Start knowing. Learn more at viome.com/gut. V as in Victor, IOME.com/GUT. And use coupon code GUTHEALTH50 to save $50 off your purchase. Viome. Trust your gut.
I remember brushing my hair and looking down and thinking, oh my gosh, do I have any hair left? I used to look at women with thick, beautiful hair and think, why doesn't my hair look like that? My thinning hair is making me feel so old.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need hair volume from New Nordic. With clinically proven ingredients like apple extract, biotin, and millet, hair volume
Have you seen
nourishes
the
your
White
hair
House?
follicles to promote thicker, healthier looking hair. Say goodbye to shedding thin and dull hair and hello to thick, healthy hair with hair volume.
Yeah,
Since
there's some
taking hair
strict
volume,
building laws
the
in
shedding has
DC.
all but stopped. Now, instead of being jealous of other women's hair, I have friends who are jealous of mine. My hairdresser couldn't believe the difference in my hair. Now she's using hair volume too.
Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com, or find Hair Volume in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
So I did my walk despite the current temps. I think I can do them all the way till 6 o'clock. There's no way I can walk to the mall. No way in the world. Because it's a direct westerly walk. And there's not a tree on Easton Drive.
No.
So you're in the sun from the minute I leave the office until until you get to the mall. Once you get to the movie theater, then you can kind of
I would
walk
drive
in the
by
shade.
and see you right there, just laying
Passed out. Yeah, passed
what
out.
the hell?
And the other thing about the heat that I don't understand, is this true in your apartment?
What's that?
Where it gets warmer later in the night?
It can. So
Mine consistently does. Like, for example, last night, I got home, I left it on 79, just so it doesn't get, because that's what they say to do. Don't let it get, because if I don't turn it on, it'll be 84 degrees when I walk in my apartment at 6:30.
Yeah.
84 degrees. So I leave it at 79 so it doesn't get cool and be on all day, but it doesn't get, towering inferno. Okay, so now I'm at home and it's not that bad. So I leave it alone. Now it's like 7 o'clock. It's starting to get a little warm. I put it on 77. Now it's like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and it's even warmer. So now I'm down to 75. I fall asleep just kind of like a cat nap around 10:30. I wake up at like 11:30, right after I finish watching the Dodgers blow a 5-run lead. And I wake up at 11:30 and I'm sweating at 75. So I had to put it at 73 just to get some sleep. And then, of course, at 5 in the morning, I'm freezing. Let me turn this. I had to get up out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning just to turn it off at 73. Is that no? Yours doesn't get that much warmer.
And not like that. Like I like you if I don't turn it on, and if I get home, it's about like 81, 82. Today, it's probably going to be around 84, 85 because of how hot it is outside. But you're upstairs, huh?
No, I'm downstairs.
You're
That's what I was going to say. I thought
okay.
the heat rose. No, I'm down. I'm on the floor level.
Huh. Because that was going to be my thought, was if you're on the upstairs, that makes sense because heat rises and you obviously catch the people below you as well.
No.
But I don't know. That's weird.
I know. Sucks. It's going to be a long, hot summer. We got like a week of 3 digits. See, I keep telling you, the city sucks. If it weren't for you people, I'd been long gone out of this place. Googly moogly. Who wants to live anywhere where it's 104 degrees for a week? Meantime, the Iskanders, the family who lost 2 children, ages, let's see how old the boys were. Rebecca Grossman, the son of famed Dr. Peter Grossman, who took over his father's burn center, nationally recognized burn center. Mark 11, Jacob 8. They were run down by Rebecca Grossman, his wife, who was cheating on him with Scott Erickson. They were playfully racing after having margaritas, and Erickson fled the scene. This guy's a punk. I'll play some audio for you later. There's just so much. There's too much because there's so many players. You got Dr. Grossman, you got Erickson, you've got this idiot lawyer that they brought in who got caught. The whole Grossman thing is a lie. They brought in an attorney, and it was like a Perry Mason moment that you rarely see in these suits, where the attorney was asking him about Rebecca Grossman's deposition. And he says, well, I remember reading vague parts of her deposition. Well, do you remember this part? No, I don't really remember that part. Do you remember this part? No. In reading it, you don't remember this? No. Well, would it surprise you, sir, if I told you that Rebecca Grossman didn't take a deposition? And the guy's looking at the eyes like an owl. All of a sudden, he's like, oops. It's filled with this. This is my 6th to 10th grade class. So you got to understand, at the Buckley School was where I first went from 6th to 10th grade. When you're in the elementary side, you're in one room all day. You have a homeroom teacher, Mrs. Humberg, and it's just so funny that that's her name, because I don't know what connotation you get from the word the name Humberg, but that's her, because I've always now associated with the old crusty German ornery old woman, and that was Mrs. Humberg. And so you're in one room, in one classroom all day. Mrs. Humberg taught us reading, math, science, social studies. You never leave the room. So you get pretty close with these kids. And I knew Peter Grossman fairly well. And then you go over to the other side, and it's like a high school then. You're going to different classrooms, different classmates, blah, blah, blah. But he was always a whiny kid. And I've never said that while I've talked about this case because it wasn't relevant. Well, now it's relevant because he has to take the stand in the civil suit. They provided the Iskanders $176 million of compensatory damages. Now this is the punitive stage. Here is a tete-a-tete between Brian Hanisch, who is the Iskanders' lawyer. This guy is brilliant. And Dr. Peter Grossman, little sleazy, kind of slimy, weaselly cat. He really is.
Your joint checking account transferred $199,400 to Aaron Bregman Family Trust. Didn't you, sir?
I don't recall that, sir.
Yes. And were you paying Aaron Bregman $199,400?
No, sir.
Were you lending him the money?
I do not know what this is for, sir.
So you transferred $200,000 2 years ago to your best friend and lawyer, and you don't know what it was for. Is that right?
Well, I can tell you what I assume it's for, sir, but I don't want to speculate.
Do you know what it was for? You just told us you couldn't tell us. You just said, here, quote, I don't know what this is for, sir. Was that an accurate statement?
Yes.
So you don't know what that was for?
This is the first time looking at this, sir.
Is it frequent that you'll do $200,000 transfers that you don't know about within the last several years?
Sir, there is an extraordinary amount of legal fees that were paid over the last several years.
Don't inject things that you're just making up. You don't know. If you don't know that this is the legal fees, don't say it.
Stop. That's the judge. Who's his brother, by the way. That's the judge telling Grossman, if you don't know, just say you don't know. But don't. Basically, it's telling him, stop BSing and just answer the damn question. Continue.
The legal fees, don't say it.
Yeah, you don't even know what it's for. Why could you say that?
Your question was asking me is it my common practice to not know what's going on, and I'm trying to give you my best answer.
It's a yes or no, sir. Do you oftenly transfer out $200,000 that 2 years later you can't tell someone what it was for? Yes or no?
I can't answer that yes or no, sir.
So you don't know?
I can't answer that yes or no, sir.
So either you know or you don't know. Do you know or not know?
You're placing me in a position where yes or no is not an answer. I'm happy to answer the question for you, sir, but you can't pigeonhole me into yes or no.
Why did you pay Aaron Bregman $199,400 3 years, almost 2 years after? More than 2 years after the death of the Iskander boys.
This is the first I've seen this document, sir. I don't know the answer to that question.
Sir, you produced this document, didn't you?
Sir, I did not see the document, sir.
So, in other words, whatever documents were produced, you didn't review them to make sure that all of them were being produced, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And you understand you have an obligation to review, sign under penalty of perjury, and say you've produced all the documents, and if you can't, you have to say they're either lost, destroyed, misplaced, right?
Sir, I was not under the knowledge that I had to review all of the documents that you asked to be produced.
You see what I'm talking about? There's so many layers to this. First of all, think about how much dough this cat's got. Where he's trying to get a jury to believe him that he gave somebody $199,000 and he doesn't know why. He's throwing around like $250,000 like it's so many nickels. First of all, that's the first thing that came to my mind. Like if somebody, it'd be like Chase contacted me. Did you authorize $96 to DoorDash? No, even though I did. So I could be careless, I guess, with $96, but $199,000? Come on, man. Basically, if you don't understand what's going on, Dr. Grossman is trying to hide his assets. They already got stung for $176 million in compensatory damages. Now, this is the punitive damages. Here's what you need to know, and this is what I love. Mr. Panish wanted $20 million from the family in punitive damages to teach them a lesson, sort of thing, and wanted $1 million from Erickson. 20 and 1. The jury gave him 22 and wants 1.75, almost 2 million from Erickson. They said, screw Panish, we'll go over what he's requesting. That's not enough to punish these people, as well it should be. And there's other testimony. It goes on and on and on. And you see why I don't play it, because most of the tete-a-tetes are pretty long. We don't really run minute and a half long bites. We lose you after about 30, 45 seconds. So that's the reason I haven't played a lot of the audio. But there's more. There's more. I'll try to condense some of it over the next couple of days, because I find this absolutely fascinating. And maybe it's just me, because I went to high school with the kid, and he made a tremendous success of himself, picked up the baton for his father, took over one of the most internationally known burn centers because of Richard Pryor. Remember, his father, we're in high school, maybe in college, when Pryor sets himself on fire in Northridge and goes to the burn center. I mean, the burn center was very well known before that. But when you've got Richard Pryor and you bring him back to life, because he's supposed to die, if you remember, it's kind of like Magic Johnson with HIV. Everyone assumed when he checked into the Grossman Burn Center, he was never going to leave. I mean, he was horribly burned and running through the streets of Northridge. And Peter's pop brought him back to life. And the burn center was, as we all know, because they used to have one here. I don't know what happened to it. Maybe it was impacted by the fact that this guy knew he was going to go broke. He's closing the doors on some of it. But they basically got caught trying to hide their goods. They knew that they were going to get crushed by this jury. You know, his wife's doing 15 years to life. And it's just despicable. I don't think it's just the fact that I went to high school with this kid. It's just a despicable story of rich, entitled folks who, you know, there's a part of tete-a-tete between Grossman and the attorney where they caught him on the phone talking crap about the family, the Iskanders, how they're money grubbing, boo, 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 boo. You damn right they are. You took 2 of their children in one of the most irresponsible ways possible. You weren't just drunk, you were speeding with your mister, your lover. So I'm just so incredibly happy for this family who lost an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old in one horrific day because this woman wanted to go speed. They were going 85 miles an hour in a 40-mile zone. You imagine? That's like going through Westchester, going down 21st Street at 80 miles an hour. Think about that. It's insane. And with a buzz on your head. It's insane. At least Ed had the decency to pass out. Too soon? Yeah, too soon. Let's go. And look who's making jokes. Okay, 2006. Hello. I just remember looking up and just saying, we don't even have to do this. Let's just go. Let's just go. Let's just go.
That's what he did too.
Did he?
Not really, but
I guess I'm a deuce. It's pretty much what I said.
Yeah.
I was like, we really don't have to do we really don't. Last thing I did before I left the bars, took a shot of Jack Daniels. And then my car was parked downtown. And you know how they're parked on a slant? And I had a 5-speed. And I swear I said this to myself. I said, if I have trouble getting it in reverse, you know, I have trouble sometimes getting in reverse and going back uphill. Yeah. I said, if I like stall, I'm going to shut it down and turn it off because a cop could be looking. And unfortunately, I put it in reverse and it came out smoothly. And I'm like, I could drive 1.5 miles. Made that left turn off of H to get to D Street. Popped on the very street that I lived on. That just ain't right. That just ain't right. Quick timeout. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, Ambassador Jamieson, Greer, join us, trade representative, and other things that I've discovered. We'll talk with him at 4:15. Our money man, Daniel Petrie, at 4:30. Mr. Turnipseed still on vacation. And I'll get you caught up on the Carmelo Anthony appeal. No, I won't say it. And Henry Ruggs thought he'd be playing football this summer. No. Nevada Parole Board said, no, son. You can't kill somebody in a car going 156 miles an hour and then just jump out of jail 3 years later. Nice job, Nevada Parole Board. And boy, nicely done. With timeout, we're coming right back. It's TRBS on a Thursday, right here on Newstalk 96.1 AM 1230, streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Hey, it's that man again for Sangera Subaru. You know, the world's biggest tournament is here. And this summer, Sangera Subaru is bringing all the excitement home. So they're kicking it off with some incredible offers on new Subarus all month long. Right now, lease a 2026 Outback Premium CVT for $229 a month for 36 months and $5,014 due at signing. Plus, every Subaru comes standard with symmetrical all-wheel drive. So don't miss your chance to drive something new during soccer's biggest event of the summer going on right now at Sangera Subaru. So stop by, see my good friends Damon Culbertson and Hassan Levy, and test drive a brand new Subaru. Sangera Subaru, paving the way for a better community. 5500 Gasoline Alley Drive in the Bakersville Auto Mall.
Lease 2026 Subaru Outback Premium CVT with TSRP $37,287, $229 per month plus tax for 36 months. Total lease payments $8,855, $5,014 total due at lease signing. Includes first month payment, excludes tax, title, license, and $85 document fee. Total lease cost $13,869, excludes tax and fees. No security deposit. Lease based on 7,500 miles per year, 15 cents per mile over. Available to qualified customers through Subaru Motor Finance on approved credit. Expires June 30, 2026. Excludes optional equipment and dealer installed accessories. VIN number TY514370.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Dr. Roland Rodriguez.
Hello, this is Bakersfield General Surgeon Dr. Roland Rodriguez, client and friend of Mr. Paul Sheldon. It is my great pleasure and privilege to relate to all of you my absolute exemplary experience with Team Paul Sheldon. I have also referred a number of my colleagues to Paul Sheldon's office, only to receive the most stellar feedback from my doctor friends regarding the office's expert navigation through the complex maze that is Medicare. And even though Paul Sheldon himself is now facing some temporary health challenges, his longstanding and most experienced and expertly trained team of ladies, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn, continue to masterfully guide the clients through the complicated world of Medicare. You most definitely could not possibly do any better than to reach out to Paul Sheldon several months before turning 65. Thank you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Get your love. And get your love. The president announced today that Jay Clayton, U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton, will be his new director of national intelligence. There are several reasons for this, because the man that he put as an acting DNI, taking over for Tulsi Gabbard, who has resigned because her husband is suffering from cancer. But this Pulte guy was basically a housing authority official and literally had zero intelligence background, which is technically against the law, as I understand it. I don't know anything about Jay Clayton. The other factor that came into this was that FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, was going to expire tomorrow, and it failed this morning in the House. And I think the president realized that he needs that, and we do need FISA. I was at first against this. This was an offshoot of 9/11. One of the lessons that we learned in 9/11 was, as crazy as it sounds, is there was no communication amongst the broad umbrella of intelligence, the FBI, the CIA, other intelligence organizations. Some of them had some of the information on 9/11, some of them didn't have some of the other information, because 9/11, let's face it, was a disaster in terms of us understanding what was going on. I told you that I got to go when I was working for Buckley Radio, and we were the Dodger affiliate. I got to spend a week at Vero Beach, and some of you know where I'm going with this. Vero Beach is located, the tiny little airport near Vero Beach is the very airport that two of the hijackers used to train to fly a plane. And it's chronicled that they had no interest in learning how to land a plane. They only wanted to learn how to take off. How does that not set off bells and whistles? And I don't mean to be a racist, but the fact that they were Muslims who wanted to learn how to just take a plane off and were not concerned at all about learning how to land. Hello? That didn't send off bells and whistles? Well, some portions of the intelligence community had that and others didn't, and they weren't sharing. So we created this DNI position, and we used FISA to intercept or eavesdrop, surveil conversations between Americans and foreign countries. Well, some people push back on that. I've got relatives in Taiwan. I want to talk to them. I don't want the government listening to me. But at the same time, what if it's the mayor of Arcadia? Do you remember that story? The mayor of Arcadia, we discovered about 3 months ago, was a Chinese spy. If you're not familiar where Arcadia is in Los Angeles, it's the site of Santa Anita. It's where Santa Anita is located. And the woman that was running that city was a Chinese spy. So we have to have an ability to eavesdrop on the mayor of Arcadia and President Xi. They are amongst us. If there's a mayor in the outskirts of Los Angeles who's a Chinese spy, it's like having roaches, it's like having mice. If you got one, you got a bunch. And if this woman could sneak her way and become mayor of a community as large as Arcadia in Los Angeles County, you don't think there are plenty of spies out there? So the DNI position is an extremely important intelligence position. And the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act is a very, very important tool that we use to surveil these hidden agents. I'm still just blown away. Arcadia, which is a beautiful community. You ever been to Santa Anita? God, it's a gorgeous racetrack. It really is, with the San Bernardino Hills in the background. And there's I would always, whenever I would win, I would stop at that mall. There's a mall right next to Santa Anita with a Magic Pan. You ever been to Magic Pan? All they do is crepes. It's the best thing in the world. Strawberry crepes with a little whipped cream over the top. Oh my God, they're so good. And they make them, sometimes they'll make them right there at the table for you, where they flip them and set them on fire and put it right there on your plate. Oh, so good. And that city was run by a Chinese spy. So I understand pushback. Do I have any family? Well, I suppose I have family in Africa, technically. Somewhere I have descendants, but I don't really have any family outside of. We had a cousin who was at the Pentagon on 9/11, by the way, who was in Germany for a long time. But I've never really had any need to speak to foreign countries. But this is important. And again, I have no idea about Jay Clayton. I'm assuming that he'll speed through. But Pulte was never going to get through. This guy was going to be a tool for the president. Because remember when he had Tulsi Gabbard he had Tulsi Gabbard down in Atlanta ruffling through Fulton County's voter rolls. And I don't think it's a stretch to say that Pulte was going to be doing similar things like that. And so this is a win for us and the country. And I think you're seeing growing pushback. I think you're seeing some of these Republican senators starting to grow a pair and starting to say, Mr. President, we can't do this. And because normally they rubber stamp anything and everything he says. You know what I'm saying? But Pulte was a stretch too far. All right, we're heading to the 4 o'clock hour, coming up in just a matter of minutes, about 4:15. We're going to talk with Jamieson Greer. He is the trade representative, ambassador. The New York Times calls him the architect of the Trump trade policy, meaning tariffs. So we'll talk about that. China. We don't get him for another 15 minutes. So if there are trade questions you would like me to ask, feel free to hit me in the chat room or hit Chris on our message board. We'll do that at 4:15. Then bottom of the hour, it's a Thursday, our money man, Daniel Petrie. But in the meantime, you're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230. Don't go anywhere.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
Hour from Town Hall, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump has called off new military strikes on Iran hours after threatening to escalate the war. Mr. Trump said at the Oval Office on Thursday that a deal to end the war is close.
We have a signing soon, and the documents are in pretty final shape. So we'll see. We'll see. Very good. Should be done. That should be done pretty quickly. They want it every bit as much as everybody else wants.
A spokesperson for Iran's foreign ministry said in a live phone call on state television that mediators were active and nothing had been finalized to end the conflict that began February 28th when the U.S. and Israel jointly attacked Iran. President Donald Trump plans to nominate U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton to be his new National Intelligence Director. Correspondent Bernie Bennett has details.
President Donald Trump nominates Jay Clayton, U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York and a former Securities and Exchange Commission chairman, as Director of National Intelligence. President Trump announced the nomination on social media on Thursday amid pressure from Congress to name a permanent replacement for Tulsi Gabbard, who resigned last month. Mr. Trump faced intense pushback over his decision to name Bill Pulte, head of the Federal Housing Finance Agency, as acting director. The job oversees the coordination of 18 intelligence agencies. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
A Minnesota man who assassinated the top Democrat in the Minnesota House and her husband has pleaded guilty so that federal prosecutors would not seek the death penalty. Vance Bolter fatally shot Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark Hortman. He is also charged in the non-fatal shootings of State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette Hoffman. More details at townhall.com.
Hey, I'm Kirk Cameron. Is health insurance eating up your budget for 2026? If you're looking for ways to better steward your finances, consider this. Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's a health insurance alternative at half the cost. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. While insurance companies tell you when to join, what to pay, and where to go, CHM is different. As a ministry, CHM allows you to share the burden of medical bills with other Christians. You can enroll, switch programs, or leave at any time. Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's a world of difference. CHM has 4 flexible programs. You can pick any certified doctor, surgeon, or hospital that you want for eligible care. So make the switch. Take your paycheck back from health insurance this year. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
First Lady Melania Trump.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
A power outage in downtown Bakersfield. I'm Chris Davis, and that outage, which started just before 7:30 this morning, had an impact on many offices and 2 courthouses downtown. The outage stretched from Oak Street to P Street, then from 18th Street to California Avenue. PG&E had not given a cause for the outage. In all, just over 800 customers were affected, according to outage maps. What people had to say about the proposed budget for the next fiscal year for Bakersfield. Jason Cosper is one of the people who spoke at a public hearing on the budget during Wednesday's city council meeting, and his main concern is the money spent on cameras.
Nobody on this council, as far as I'm aware, held a public hearing before a single camera went up. And now the technology development section of next year's budget centers on a real-time information center. It's being built the same way that the cameras went up, without our input.
For Rosa Lopez, who describes herself as a community advocate, the concern is about police.
BPD is asking for over $201 million, representing an increase of almost $4 million from the previous year. For comparison, the Recreation and Parks Department is asking for $42.5 million, a fraction of what is allocated to police.
Lopez says she believes the city should be spending its money to help with affordable housing and quality of life for low-income residents. If you have a dog that doesn't have a tag or a microchip, the city's animal care center says they'll be offering those for free throughout this month. They say your dog does not have to have been adopted from the animal care center or anywhere else, and that if you want a tag or a microchip for the pup, just come into the center. The center also says July 5th is usually the day that they take in the most animals. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
To the rest, well, in a month from now, this Hollywood Big Shot's going to give you what you want.
Too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm going to make him an offer again with you.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Thursday. Real short segment then coming up in just a matter of minutes. We're going to get on the phone. We've got a great connection with the Trump administration. We've spoken with the Brooke Rollins, who was the agricultural secretary. We spoke with Keith Sunderling, who was the labor secretary. And now we get the opportunity to talk with Jamieson Greer, the trade representative, ambassador. Interesting cat. You should hang on. Stay tuned for this. Or if you can't, certainly go back tonight, excuse me, and watch it on YouTube. In the meantime, let's just spend a couple of minutes and get him on the phone. But what do you got? Anything on the board?
Just 2. Let's see. Hey, Ralph, the wide receiver for the Raiders that's in prison for that killing that girl in an accident was refused parole today. He won't be a Raider to maybe 28.
Yeah, we mentioned that at the top of the show. Yeah, he's up for parole again in August of 27. I don't want him to be on the Raiders. I don't want him. I don't want this kid. I think he should still be in prison. How do you kill somebody with a car and get 3 years or maybe 4 years or maybe 5, and a track kid stabs a kid and kills him with, well, I guess there's more intent there, but still, this kid gets 35 years and Ruggs gets 34, maybe 5? I just don't understand that. Nor do I understand. I've had some time to think about the Carmelo Anthony situation. No, not that Carmelo Anthony. 35 years is pretty harsh, particularly for a 17-year-old. Now, I'm not questioning whether it was self-defense. It was not. It was not premeditated murder either. And we could argue whether members of if there were members of the black community, would they have gone for manslaughter? Would they have held out for a shorter term? I don't know, but there's no question it was you couldn't go easy on this thing. You couldn't give this kid 5 years. You just couldn't. One more.
Plattner is going to win no matter what Trump and Collins do, even if Graham admits to grabbing them by the. Oh, I'm not going to say that.
Well, as I have stated pretty consistently, I don't care about the sex things. We've blown past sexual marital affairs being relevant with Bill Clinton. You know what I'm saying? And if you look through history, as I've talked about, you'd be hard-pressed to find a president in the 20th century that wasn't cheating on his wife, going all the way back to the 20s. Warren Harding had a child out of wedlock back in Ohio. We didn't know Warren Harding was revered as a president for years, decades after his death. Right down in Pacific Palisades, there used to be a school called Warren G. Harding. I think it was a junior high. And then we found out what a scumbag he was. In fact, it's connected to Kern County. Out in Taft, the oil leases, that's all part of the Teapot Dome scandal. I don't have time to give you a history lesson right now because we got to get to the ambassador in about 3 minutes. But look up the Teapot Dome scandal, which ruined the Harding administration. That was right out here in Taft, the Navy oil leases. It's a big controversy. Anyway, yeah, going back to Harding in 1920. And then Roosevelt had a mistress. I've told you that story. Roosevelt's mistress was, his daughter played liaison because Roosevelt was wheelchair bound. So he couldn't go meet his mistress. So she had to come to him. And he had to have somebody who was secretive, couldn't be the Secret Service, although they obviously had to know about it. But he had to have a liaison, and it was his daughter. And the tragic thing about it, Eleanor knew about the affair. This has been going on for years. And she accepted it. But on his death, she was in New York, and the mistress was in Warm Springs with Roosevelt, with the daughter. And Eleanor flies in and finds out that the daughter has been the enabler to this affair for years. And that absolutely broke her heart. Let's move on. Eisenhower took his lover to war with him, made her his aide-de-camp, as they say. And she was with him all throughout the war, and he brought her back home to the United States. Truman was an old man. Kennedy, really? Lyndon Johnson was screwing his secretaries. And if they wouldn't sleep with him, he fired them. Nobody wanted to sleep with Nixon. Carter was a religious freak. Reagan was so enamored with Nancy Davis. And then you got Bill Clinton having sex in the Oval Office. You'd be hard-pressed to find leaders. Martin Luther King Jr. was sleeping with his parishioners. Powerful men who are busy have to have somebody close, and it is what it is. So the character issue on sex has long been out the window. My issue with Graham Plattner is he's a Nazi. I just don't know many people who aren't Nazis and they put Nazi symbols on their body. You have anybody like that? I'm a liberal Democrat, but I'm wearing a Nazi symbol. No, I'm a conservative Republican, but I got this Nazi tattoo on my chest. No. People generally who emblazon things like symbols of the Third Reich are pretty in tune with the Third Reich. He is a Nazi. And if you notice, the Democrats are being brilliant about this because they're stressing the hypocrisy of the sexual thing. How can the Republican Party be holier than thou when you're leader of the free world and what the texter just said and cheated on his wife with Stormy and blah, 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 blah. I don't care about that. But I do care if you have some affection for Adolf Hitler and the Third Reich. That's my issue with this man. So let's don't get it misconstrued. This guy is a POS, and he's probably going to win, which means they're probably going to win back the Senate, which means you can say aloha, auf Wiedersehen, sayonara, don't let the door hit you where the Lord split you, peace out, mic drop to the filibuster. Because that will be the very first thing the Democrats do if they control of the Senate. They're going to get rid of the filibuster. They're going to pack the court. The District of Columbia and Puerto Rico will become states. We'll have 104 senators, and the world will be different. 15 Supreme Court judges. Quick timeout. We're excited. U.S. trade official Ambassador Jamieson Greer joins us after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Did you know termites can silently feast on your home for 3 to 4 years before you see any damage? They can literally eat a bedroom wall in less than 2 years, causing major structural damage to your biggest investment. Don't wait for the evidence to appear.
What did I say?
Ryan's Termite is running an early bird special.
Did
If
I
you know or
really?
even suspect that you have termites, get on Ryan's schedule now for an additional 10% off our already lowest price. All work is guaranteed. There's no money down and no contracts. Plus, in most cases, you won't even have to move or tent your house. Protect your home and save. Call Ryan's today. That's Ryan'sTermiteControl.com.
Every Thursday at 4:30, Daniel Petrie lightens up the broadcast with his incredible wit, pure intelligence, political knowledge, and obviously an absolute master of economics. That's why he's such an important cog on this broadcast. And you can hear him even on some of his off days when there are financial movements that we can't explain. We lean on my man from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. And of course, you know what they're all about. They're all about retirement. I've turned at least 3 or 4 different people on to Messmaker Petrie Wealth Advisors, and they could not be happier. You could be happy as well with your situation in terms of the fourth quarter in your life if you call 395-9400, 395-9400, the offices of Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice or a solicitation for advisory services by Daniel Petrie or MPWA Incorporated, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrie Wealth Advisors. The program host is a client and receives compensation and other financial benefits in connection with this advertisement, creating a conflict of interest. Experiences discussed may not be representative of other clients.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need to get the job done. With fast delivery you can depend on and access to technical product experts ready to help you meet any challenge. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
842-537-6842 Coming up at the bottom of the hour, it's a Thursday. Our money man, Daniel Petrie, will join us. We'll talk about the uptick in inflation. We'll get into the 5. I'll tell you about the appeal that's going on in Texas for Carmelo Anthony. Get you updated on Phil Mickelson's bizarre behavior and preview Spurs, Knicks down in the Alamo down in San Antonio. But as we've talked about all week, we're excited to get to talk with Trade Representative Ambassador Jamieson Greer. Joins us live. Ambassador, thanks for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Where do we find you this afternoon?
Well, I just came out of the Tesla factory in Fremont, and I went to a small manufacturing lab nearby in Hayward, where they're building the future of America. It's incredible to see all the manufacturing that's going on, even in California, where we know the business climate can be challenging.
That is outstanding. Let me, just before we get started, kind of get off script for just a second. Among your many hats, and we'll get to that as well, but you are a captain in the Air Force, an officer. I have to get your thoughts on what is the news of the day. Optimistic news that the president says that we may have a deal with the Iranians by the weekend. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, listen, President Trump has the most leverage anyone could have. We've neutralized their Navy. We've neutralized their Air Forces. They really don't have much going on. We've also conducted financial operations against them. We've frozen their ability to make money and to sell oil. So it just depends how long they want to wait. And they've clearly gotten the message that the time is now. The president has pretty much all the cards, and I'm really encouraged. It's been a back and forth, right? These are folks who, they think differently than we do. The way we look at the world is different than the way they look at it.
Sure.
But I think they know it's time for a deal.
Yeah. Do we know who we're dealing with at this point, do you think?
Yeah, we do. We
Okay.
do. We have a clear view into who can make decisions over there, and we know who can make final arrangements for deals. So that's a positive.
And one other quick question. He also named U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton as Director of National Intelligence. You're very close with the president. Do you know Jay Clayton as well? Anything?
Yeah. I don't know him as well as I know the president and others, but we have a lot of common friends, and I'm really excited about that. I was excited about that news. He's incredibly respected. He's a great law enforcement official. The president trusts him. Being up there working in New York as Attorney General is not an easy job, right? And so he was able to do that to great effect. So we're looking forward to having him in that spot.
All right, let's talk about trade. How's that? You got to begin with China, I suppose. They've been ripping us off literally for decades, and finally a president has stood up and said enough is enough. The New York Times calls you and Howard Lutnick the architects of the president's trade policy, including Liberation Day. What is our situation with China right now?
Well, with China, and you put it right, they've been ripping us off for decades. And previous administrations and policymakers and even some of our business leaders have let them do it, right, in the interest of making a quick buck while we lost a lot of our manufacturing base. And so President Trump has done two things. First and foremost, he has put tariffs on imports from China to deter all these imports and to be able to diversify and be able to protect U.S. manufacturing. So he's doing that on the one hand. On the other hand, he has developed a really close personal relationship with President Xi to have stability. People talk about a trade war. There's not really a trade war with China. We have tariffs on their goods, and there are some goods where we trade with them. And we have established something called the U.S.-China Board of Trade, where we are working really positively with China to figure out where we can and should be trading to kind of manage the trade flow. Because it's just gotten out of hand over the past few decades. So we're actually in a really stable position with China right now.
Yeah, and I'm in Bakersfield, California, in the Central Valley, the heart of feeding the world, really. And so we're happy to see the soybeans agreement that was made with China. Expound on that a little bit.
Yeah, and again, the key word here is stability. So last October, I was with the president. We met the Chinese at a meeting in Busan, Korea, and the Chinese agreed that they would buy 25 million metric tons of soybeans from China through the rest of the president's term. $1 billion worth of soybeans a year, depending on the price of soybeans. And on top of that, on the most recent trip we made to China, the Chinese agreed that on top of those soybean purchases, they weren't above that. So that's about $30 billion all in ag sales to China. It's a big market. And the good news is the president has opened other markets too. We made trade deals with Indonesia, Malaysia, Bangladesh. These are countries that have hundreds of millions of people, and now they're all buying American corn, American soybeans. And we have cut down our agricultural trade deficit significantly in just a year and a half.
Yeah. We're talking with Trade Representative Ambassador Jamieson Greer. We had the Labor Secretary, Keith Sunderling, on about a week ago, and we talked about manufacturing. You referenced that. It really, truly is coming back to America. Talk about that a little bit.
It is. And, I know Keith, the acting Secretary of Labor, great guy. We have amazing indicators of where manufacturing is going in America. So in the last 2 years of the Biden administration, they lost 220,000 manufacturing jobs. In the first quarter of this year, President Trump brought back 25,000 manufacturing jobs. That's the first positive numbers we've seen since that giant downturn in the Biden years. We're seeing that the average wage of manufacturing workers, not the supervisors, not the managers, but the line workers, went up by about $2,500 last year. Overtime hours for manufacturing is going up. So we're seeing all over huge demand for American manufacturing labor. And I'm seeing as I'm going to facilities around the country, there's a big resurgence, and it's really important for the country.
When we talked to your colleague, the labor secretary, the acting labor secretary, it was incredibly timely because I think it was the day after the jobs report came out, which was out the roof. No one could have imagined the numbers that we saw, and manufacturing was a large part of that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's always it's always a little satisfying because you see the number and then it says 65 out of 65 Bloomberg economists predicted wrong, right?
Right.
That's because these are the experts that led us down the path of offshoring all of our manufacturing, and so that would be really great for our country. And so President Trump obviously is undertaking both tariffs to protect manufacturing and deals to open foreign markets. And I don't know if you know this, we're exporting more than we've ever exported in our 250-year history, over $300 billion a month in goods and services. These are records. This is not hyperbole. This is hard data. We're exporting more than ever before, and a lot of that is manufactured goods.
That's outstanding. We're talking with Ambassador Jamieson Greer as the architect of the tariff policy. Where does it stand now?
Yeah, well, I just got some really good news a few minutes ago. As you know, every time the president tries to do something that's good for the country, someone sues him in court. And today we just had a really good ruling on a current set of tariffs that we've imposed. It's a 10% tariff on the world that's protecting American manufacturing. And we had a federal circuit court come down and say, we're not going to enjoin these tariffs. We're going to let them stay in place. We think it's likely that the government will win its case on this. So that's really positive. Right now, my office, we have some investigations open to examine unfair trade practices in other countries where they have all these subsidies, they have overproduction, they've built too many factories that can, that their demand can support. So we're looking into all of this. And if we find that they're engaging in unfair practices, the president options to impose tariffs there too. So he has a lot of tools, he has a lot of leverage, and he's deploying it in a really nuanced way to help American workers and businesses.
Yeah. Talk about some of the investment deals. I was reading, we have investment security deals with Saudi Arabia, Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam. Why aren't these things getting covered by the press? Why aren't they seeing the positive side of the president's tariff policy?
Yeah, well, because it's not a convenient story, right?
Yeah.
But what we're seeing, take Switzerland, for example. We did a deal with Switzerland last summer, and Switzerland has a lot more manufacturing than people think. It's not just cuckoo clocks and chocolate. They do a lot of pharmaceuticals and machinery, and they're bringing over aerospace manufacturing. They're bringing over pharmaceutical manufacturing, rail equipment manufacturing. So it's really important that they do, and that's helping to balance out the trade, because for so long we've imported way more than we've exported, and we're totally underwater in terms of our trade deficit. And so as these countries bring manufacturing here, that's stuff that we can make here for consumption here. We don't have to import it anymore when these countries are doing it.
Yeah. How did we lose manufacturing?
Well, this is a long story. I'll spare you all of it since we're on your show.
Okay.
But the reality is, starting with NAFTA and then the World Trade Organization, during that time, American policymakers said, we're going to totally open our markets. We've won the Cold War. We're going to take down all our tariffs, and the world's going to be a better place, and everyone's going to be a free market democracy. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not what happened.
Absolutely.
And exactly what happens, we took down our barriers. Other people did not, by the way. And everyone said, now I have a permanent option to offshore to China or Vietnam or Mexico, and I know I'm going to be able to re-export to the U.S. with no barriers at all. And so the totally natural thing happened, which was all this manufacturing left. It went to where the cheap labor was, in some cases slave labor, and they re-export to Americans. And all those Americans who lost their jobs, they were told, too bad, this is your fault.
Yeah.
And President Trump is trying to fix that.
That's outstanding. Talking with Ambassador Jamieson Greer. I'm running out of time. Tell us about Jamieson Greer. I see you're a BYU man. I have always been fascinated by the missions. What was your mission and how do they work? I think that is fascinating and something that I think all college students should experience.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience, and it gives us kind of a common experience. I think a lot of the country, whether they like it or not, you used to have the draft and people went in the military and they had a common experience that bound the country together. There's not a lot of that anymore, but in our church, a lot of us go on missions and it creates a common experience. I went to Belgium and Luxembourg, of all places,
Wow.
right? A lot of my friends went laid on dirt floors in Guatemala and places like that. I went to Europe, but I'll tell you, some of those people over there are godless. But it was a great experience. I learned to love the people and love the country, and it's actually come back in a great way because I go over there a lot now. I go back to Belgium. I go to Brussels. I deal with my counterparts, and I feel like I have a good insight into how they think and how they feel because of my experiences there 20 years ago. And it's been a big benefit for me, actually.
I'll leave you with this because I'm out of time. How close are you? I read that you're very close with the president. How often do you get to meet with the president? Get down and sit down and pick his brain? He pick your brain? How often do you meet with him?
Well, when we're both in town, I meet with him almost every day.
Wow.
So I was So I was with him. I was with him a couple days ago, and on the weekends, he'll call me on the phone. I'm the morning shift, right? Some people he calls at like midnight or 1. He tends to call me around 7 a.m.
Good for you.
And listen, even when I'm traveling overseas, he'll call me. It'll be like 2 a.m. I'm asleep in my hotel room or something. And I'll say, Mr. President, I'm in Malaysia. And he goes, oh, okay. And he just keeps talking. So, he thinks about trade all the time. This is a really important issue to him. And so I'm
clearly
able to connect with him almost every day.
Well, Ambassador, thank you so much for all the work that you're doing for the administration. Thank you for coming on the program and taking the time. And we hope to maybe talk to you again.
All right. Take it easy.
All right. Take care. Bye. Thank you, sir. Jamieson Greer, the U.S. Trade Representative, Ambassador of the United States. Quick time out. Talking about money. It's a Thursday. Our money man, Daniel Petrie from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Coming up at 5, we'll talk a little sports. I think the San Antonio Spurs head coach should be fired summarily. Google it, Moogly. And we'll talk about the Carmelo Anthony situation. It's TRBS on a Thursday. I would stick around if I you.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
News. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump says he plans to nominate Jay Clayton, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, and a former Securities and Exchange Commission chairman as Director of National Intelligence. Trump announced the nomination on social media Thursday amid pressure from Congress to name a permanent replacement for Tulsi Gabbard, who announced her resignation last month. President Trump said Thursday he's called off new military strikes on Iran, claiming a breakthrough in negotiations to end the war just hours after the American leader threatened to escalate the conflict by seizing control of Iran's oil industry. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 929 points, the Nasdaq rose 640, the S&P advanced 127. More details at srnnews.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. It's more than $900 million and at a state-mandated public hearing on the next city budget for Bakersfield. At Wednesday's council meeting, several people spoke on how they believe the city should be spending the people's money. Rosa Lopez, self-described community advocate.
We heard about people investing in trees, investing in other things beyond more police with guns, beyond paying more surveillance.
Other people brought up concerns about the sewer rate increases, asking the council to look again at a possible assistance program for people who may not be able to afford the increases. No cause had been determined for power outages downtown this morning that affected 2 courthouses as well as about 800 more PG&E customers. That outage started just before 7:30. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day. No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Pet stains on your carpet? Carpet Outlet Plus has everything you need to make your floors pet-proof. With over 100 in-stock waterproof floors, Carpet Outlet Plus can solve your pet problems for good. We also stock over 50 colors of pet-perfect carpet. Call, click, or come by today for your free in-home estimate. Don't forget, for the do-it-yourselfer, we also offer free next-day delivery on all qualifying stock floors. And as a bonus, go to carpetoutletplus.com and apply for 12 months no-interest financing. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
In 2026, Bay Alarm celebrates 80 years of security. For the Central Valley, that means local service including burglar and fire alarm systems, 24/7 in-house monitoring, and custom security designed to work with business operations. Bay Alarm has real people rooted in your community looking out for your business. After 8 decades and 3 generations of family ownership, our promise is still the same. We got you. Learn more at bayalarm.com.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
It's a Thursday. Time to enter the corner of 21st and all the offices of Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Daniel Petrie. How are you, Daniel?
I am doing well, Ralph. How are you?
I'm miserable.
Uh-oh.
Damn Knicks. Hate them. Hate them. I was rooting for them, Daniel. I really was. You know, I used to live in New York. My dad was a big Knicks fan.
I won't hold it against you.
But then when I saw these mongrels beating up Spurs fans and tearing their jerseys off of them, I was like, I hope they get swept.
As a connoisseur of Boston sports, I cannot root for the Knicks.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I'm rooting for the Spurs.
There's still a chance. 3-1's been done. 3-1's been done.
Well, not only that, but 2 of the games could easily went to Spurs.
It should be 3-1 Spurs right now.
Agreed.
It really should.
Agreed.
I've never seen a team hand a win over to another team like they did last night.
They seem at the most bizarre moments to make decisions that
idiotic.
Made that decision 10 minutes ago. What are they doing?
Absolutely idiotic. Throwing up, you got like they were willing it down. It was about a 15-point lead when I was screaming, stop taking threes.
And just quick threes.
Yes. Get the clock down to 5 seconds.
Yeah. If you're going to chuck one up, you might as well use the shot clock.
Thank you.
Want to do it early.
No, they couldn't do that. They were jacking up threes with 18 seconds left on the shot clock. And it's as if they wanted the Knicks to win.
You know, when I see this happen, as much as I have enjoyed the 3-point shot and opening up the offense and getting guards back involved with scoring,
it's changed the game.
I hate the fact, because you can have a team of 20 and you know that it's like, okay, well, they shot lights out from 3-point. If they continue that, they're going to come down to earth. The other team shot terribly. They're going to shoot better. And then you have just kind of it's different. It's very different.
I texted Randy. I said, I don't know if they're going to make it, but they're going to make a run. At halftime, I told him, they're going to make a run. He absolutely agreed. He's like, yeah, well, they're going to make a run.
Well, and their little guard is very good.
Yes, he is. Mr. Brunson is a bad man.
Away, and they've kind of started off slowly every game, and he has basically willed them back in the fourth quarter.
I mean, they should have won. They should have made a stop on the final play. But what did they do wrong, Mr. Burdick? Did you watch the whole game?
Of course I did.
What did they do wrong on the final play?
I'm sorry. Are we talking about the Knicks' final touch? Or
Yes, the Knicks. They
let OG Anunoby go without anybody touching him.
They didn't cover the inbounder.
Yeah,
that is like.
Guess whose fault that was?
That's the coaches.
No, it's De'Aaron Fox's, but yeah, close.
Well, the coach decides we're not gonna cover the inbound.
Oh, I highly doubt the coach told him not to cover the inbound guy. Aaron Fox was just paying attention to Jalen Brunson the whole time.
Well, and
no,
I was a little surprised Brunson put it up as early as I did.
I did too.
Thought, get a rebound.
But you can't because you're not covering the guy that's the inbounder, and he inbounded the play and just followed it. There was nobody to box him out. He tips it in and they win. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Part of me wonders if Brunson saw how do you say his name?
Wembenyama. Wemby.
Yeah, the big guy, out on him and thought, we got a chance at a rebound. If I make it, I win, and if I miss, we got a chance.
Well, there you go. Again, that's coaching.
Yes.
Because the Spurs had the same opportunity, and they waited, and Wemby took the shot with no time left. If you got the last shot, you've got to give yourself enough time for a rebound or a tip in. And they had the shot. Wemby takes it, and one of the other guards got it, but there was no time. He throws it up, and they lose. But the Knicks smartly took it early enough where with nobody guarding the inbounder, he just ran to the basket freely and tipped it in. I'm like, dude, that's like high school basketball.
It is very odd for me because I knew the Spurs seemed less experienced.
Yeah, that's what it is. They're young.
I thought the Spurs were the better team.
Who's the badass with the weird hair?
Which one are we talking about?
With the dreads and things.
Oh, yeah.
Castle.
Castle.
Yeah.
He's 21.
He's pretty good.
He's 21.
Harper's like 19.
And
Harper's 19. They're just
good.
not ready, but they're gonna be a force.
Oh my.
They're gonna be a force for a while.
Put 30 pounds of muscle on
Wemby
and
Yep, they're gonna be a force. They truly are. Hey, did you hear our interview with Jamieson Greer, the trade rep?
You know, I wanted to bring that up. What a great get for you.
We've been on fire. I've got this connection that I have no idea how I got. I really don't. I wish I could say I worked my sources and I got this source with the Trump administration. But they came to me, and the first one was, who was our first? Agriculture, Chris? Brooke Rollins. Yeah, Brooke Rollins. We got the Agriculture Secretary, then we got the Labor Secretary, and now the Ambassador of Trade. And we're trying to work our way up to the big guy. You know what I'm saying?
I had to look up Jamieson Greer, and he speaks fluent French.
Well, yeah. Did you hear? He did his mission in Belgium.
Yeah, I saw that. Interesting, and it was. I would love to go into a little bit more depth with him on his, the tariffs and the trade policy. He represented himself well.
Yeah, he did, and that's why I hate doing middle of the segment interviews because it's a hard break.
Right.
Like if I start at 4, if I start at the top of the hour, I can go as long as I want.
And if it's good, why not?
Yeah.
Come on there as long as I see that totally.
Yeah,
and
but
you're good at that.
Yeah, but that was the only time they had available, so we had to do it for.
Well, that's all right. It was still a good get. I'm very impressive, Mr.
Well, I worked my sources, and
you are a magician.
Yeah. I'm lucky as hell.
I think that was you, because when I heard it, I thought, wait, who's this? And then I looked him up because it's sad I don't know names as well as I should.
I never heard of him.
And then I'm like, I know that face. And then I started reading. I'm like, oh, yeah, that was very good.
Got a very impressive resume.
Yeah,
very impressive resume. Captain of the U.S. Air Force. Oh, there were questions I didn't even get to ask him. He's also the acting director of the U.S. Office of Government Ethics. And I should have asked him, what's that all about?
Interesting.
Yeah, he's got a fascinating resume. God dang it, I forgot that. See, that's why I hate those limited interviews, because you there's always one or two questions you can't get to.
Well, it's a good topic because ethics seems to be something that Democrats attack
exactly
this administration for at every level. And it's like, hey, you're, help me here.
Yeah, and I'd be fascinated to see what his role is. What exactly?
And he obviously knows Trump well. It's too bad you couldn't explore that even.
Yeah, could you hook a brother up, Ambassador?
Exactly.
So it's been.
Could you do that? If I did that, I would be like, it'd be like Daniel Petrie asking a girl out on his first date, and I don't think I speak English.
That would be an interesting conversation, me and Donald Trump. That really would be. I don't know how I would even.
That would be intimidating for me.
I wouldn't be intimidated, but I voted for the man 3 times. But I know
you have your
issues. I'm a little critical of some of the things.
And how do you address him and yet ask him in a respectful way and make him think he's not being attacked?
Right.
Which you wouldn't do, but
you can't even go there. Dude will hang up on. He'll hang up on you. If he'll walk out on Kristen
Welker, he'll declare war.
If he'll walk out on Kristen Welker, he'll hang up on Ralph Bailey. I'll tell you that.
I shouldn't say that considering the world right now. Theoretical war.
Yeah. So it's been a roller coaster week.
Wow.
We went in the dumper day yesterday, and now things rebounded today. Did they not?
Yes. Both of those, I think, were exacerbated by the Iran news.
Yeah.
We, of course, were, and I think this was actually smart of Trump. I'm tired. You're not negotiating in good faith. Here's a little message that if you choose not to, what may happen. Sent the message, and then all of a sudden, well, if it's true, all of a sudden the negotiations are back on, and we're close to a deal.
Yeah,
if that is true.
But
the market loved that today.
Yeah,
and, shot up like a rocket.
Like a rocket.
Yeah.
As I've told the audience, I am cautiously optimistic because I've heard this song played before.
I know.
Yes,
it's frustrating because I think Trump is. Obviously, he's prone to hyperbole, but I also, at his core, don't think he's dishonest. He's just New Yorkers are different.
Yeah,
at least in my book. I've been there before, and it's almost like, whoa, what do you hit me with these haymakers for? All I did ask what time it was, and they attacked from the get-go.
And it's part of and it's the part.
Not fair.
It's part of the art of the deal, but that's why I've screamed almost every day since the beginning of Epic Fury that you have to treat this differently. This is war. You've got to play it straight. You can't be hyperbolic. You can't go over the deal because we're looking like suckers. And now this is almost do or die for him. If it's Monday and we don't have a deal, Democrats are going to jump all over him and just say, "Look, dude. How many times are you going to say this?"
And eventually the market and everybody else won't believe that.
Exactly. We won't have the rebounds that we had today.
I thought it was interesting you asked Jamieson about, do we know who we're speaking with? And part of me is like, I agree we know who we're speaking with and we think they can make decisions. I just also think the way Iran is structured with their guard, that they can kind of act independently. It's like the guard, let's say the guard stationed at Carrick Island, for lack of a better, they can decide that they want to attack and do it. They don't need approval from high. They kind of can act independently. Doesn't mean that they can make decisions. Well, in a way, they're making decisions for the country, but it's complicated.
If this agreement is accurate and really comes through, I think Carrick Island probably would have been the one of the determining factors.
Yeah,
I think he probably told them, "Look, I will make a parking lot out of that place.
We're going to get the Strait open, and that's right.
And if you don't come to the table, but what will the agreement say? Because again, as I said, the president he's got to come out of this with at least something he can point to.
Yeah.
If we come out of this,
why we did it all.
Exactly. And if he can't justify why we've done this, why we've lost 13 service members and put all these families and people in harm's way, we're going to.
I agree. If he claims we won, but we're right back where we were 6 months ago.
And again, that gets back to you got to play it straight, because Marco Rubio and the president earlier this week, or no, late last week, was saying the war was over. Well, tell those two Apache pilots who were swimming around in the Strait of Hormuz for 2 hours that the war is over. You know what I'm saying? Those guys could have died. What if they had died? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and we're saying that the war is over. It's just the way they're doing this just seems so weird.
It has been odd. It's like, okay, they fired on us and we defended ourselves, but the truce is still on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, how? I mean,
yeah, you got me.
I get what they're trying to do, but it's the Middle East. Is it not uncomplicated?
Yep. Talking with Daniel Petrie from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors, as we are wont to do. His phone number is 395-9400. They're located on the corner of 21st and Oak. I'm assuming that the deficit would even lower or higher, I should say, than $29 billion this year. This week,
it climbed to roughly the weekly average.
Okay.
When I say that, it's in the range. Sometimes it'll be 29. sometimes a little more, a little less, but roughly in that range. We haven't had a big week after that negative number we had 3 weeks ago, which kind of surprised me, but I can't imagine. I mean, we're spending a lot of money.
Yeah, we are. That's why I assumed
war is
especially since that we restarted the war essentially. And we got to talk about the fact that inflation jumped to 4.2. What impact is that having on the economy?
It is. It almost. You would argue that that's terrible. However, I think with the AI push and technology and the supposed productivity boost, it offsets it a little bit. However, with inflation, you get this economy where those who have money and can participate in growthy things don't get hit by inflation as much as those that are managing their budget day to day or month to month, because I don't have an extra $50 and now all of a sudden I'm short 100 every month. You know, they have to make tough coffee table decisions about what's, kids' birthdays and all kinds of vacations. And so again, it's hit harder for them, which will help Democrats. But overall, the economy has held up extremely well.
It really has.
What we're going through.
Considering all that's going on, yeah, it has. It truly has. And gas prices are down again.
What is baffling to me about this political environment is there are arguments to be made to defend each position. And of course, if you're on one side, you find bias and fit the narrative for your side, and vice versa on the other. And that may always be true, but it seems even exaggerated now.
Yeah.
Take I'm sure you've talked about the trial in Texas about the kid and the racial overtones from that.
No, tell us about it. Daniel, I'm joking.
Oh, I was going to say, I was like, wow, I'm sorry I missed the joke.
Talked about it every day since like Friday. Are you kidding me?
Well, I can't always listen to the show, Ralph.
Apparently. Good googly moogly.
Please don't punish me for that.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm running out of time. Let's check gold and silver, shall we?
Yeah, okay. Gold had a rough week, although a great day today. But gold is at 42.23. Down a little over 5%. Silver's at 67.76.
Ooh, that's down significantly.
Yeah, a little over 8% for the week. However, with the stock market, I think we are poised for a nice rebound.
I certainly hope so.
Yes,
I certainly hope so.
It's been a little bit of a painful few weeks, but I think the tide will turn, and hopefully politics and global warfare cooperates.
We got to end this war.
Geopolitical events.
We have to end this war.
Well, it's odd because what does ending it mean? Because part of me thinks if he just said, "Okay, we're done, we're coming home," good luck.
That's a loss.
It's a loss.
No, it's a huge loss.
But at least we're not, or we go through and muddled and we get something of a win. Although I don't think it'll be as large as he's hoping for.
And there are two things that the Iranians want. They want $24 million in back assets, frozen assets, and they want to keep their uranium. And those are two things that Trump doesn't want to do, because then he can never bring up Barack Hussein Obama, as he states it, because that's more money than Obama gave him.
I don't know how he can let him have the uranium.
No.
As much as there were different reasons for going to war, they've kind of settled on the fact that they can't have a nuclear weapon.
Every time a light goes on, when their refrigerator light goes on, they say, can't have a nuclear weapon.
Right.
And if they don't have something substantial that shows that we're monitoring them, that we've got the uranium somehow, or we've done something, it's an absolute abject failure.
I don't know how you put guardrails on those people. I mean, the guardrails have failed more than I.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Always good to talk to you, sir. Have a wonderful weekend.
On radio, Ralph. Be well.
Stay cool, my friend.
I'll do my best likewise.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
Daniel Petrie. His office is on the corner of 21st and Oak. His phone number is 395-9400. Quick timeout. We'll check the board. Heading into the 5. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Thursday right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KER.
Do you want to do KC?
Yeah.
Popping up everywhere. If you think buying them is harmless, think again. Counterfeits are usually made with hazardous and even lethal ingredients that could harm you and others. And the money you paid, it goes right into the hands of criminals. Remember, if you don't know where the products came from, how could you know where the money goes? You're smart. Buy smart. Go for real. Learn more at mcgruffpsa.org. This message is brought to you by the United States Patent and Trademark Office and the National Crime Prevention Council.
Had dinner at Casey Steakhouse the other night with my dear friend Romeo Agbalag, and unfortunately, because of my health, I had the salmon. It was delicious, don't get me wrong, but I was envious the whole night. Check this out. Romeo had the ribeye special. What makes it so special? Chef Daniel gets a ribeye. He surrounds it completely in bacon, and it's stuffed with blue cheese and minor vegetables. And I mean, Romeo destroyed this thing. I'm telling you. I wanted a bite. He had already killed it. It is unbelievable. And I've always told you, I'm kind of a filet New York guy, but this ribeye was outstanding. Let's face it, this is the most iconic and best steakhouse in all of Kern County. Where would you rather be? Great way to beat the heat this weekend, to get in on F Street, go maybe by the Stockyard, have a craft cocktail with Haley, listen to Lottie, who's providing live music Thursday, Fridays, and Saturday nights. And of course, as I always remind you, Jimmy and Bobby are providing live music in the main restaurant Tuesday through Saturday. Beat the heat. Get into KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
I'm John Busby with Team Busby Real Estate.
And I'm Jonathan Busby with Team Busby Real Estate.
We just wanted to talk with you about what we do as a team. We do a great job for our clients. Some of the things that we do is when we represent sellers, we don't just put the transaction together. We do our homework and we check their FICO score, source of funds, where the money's coming from, and the job stability. Because what we don't want is to get you into an escrow and the escrow falls out because we didn't do our homework.
With any sort of real estate need that you have, we can accommodate, whether it's residential, commercial, land, or multi-units. We have experience in all and can help you to a successful close.
The background that we have is I was a lender for 5 years. And so I learned quite a bit as far as how to keep a transaction together. We don't just put it together and hope that it closes escrow. Nothing's 100%, but we do stack it in your favor.
With any needs or questions with real estate, give us a call at 661-410-7355 or visit our website at www.teambusby.com.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
842-5376, 842-KERN. About to head into the 5 o'clock hour, wrap this thing up. Tomorrow's Friday. Mr. Bentley will be here. Anything else going on?
I don't know. I won't be here.
Since I have no idea who's coming on the show or what time or what day, no idea. Executive producer puts it all together. No clue. because I have a confession to make. Remember when we talked to Zach Scow yesterday? I tried to make it sound like kind of an impromptu call from Zach. No, he was booked. He was booked. I just smoked too much weed, to be blunt with you. Sometimes not enough weed, but apparently
tisk.
Starting to lose it, Jack. Absolutely lose it. What do you got? Anything on the board for about a minute?
Yeah, I got a couple here that are saying great interview with the ambassador.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Some guys said that in the chat room as well. Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, those are difficult. I mean, the labor secretary is easy. It's about jobs. But I literally went on Facebook and asked people to help me with the agriculture secretary. I don't know anything about agriculture. And then I started a stir because I, like an idiot, I said, hey, I'm a black kid from LA, trying to be funny, kind of sarcastic. I don't know anything about, and even Mrs. Fowler, who I've known since I was in 6th grade, she was administrator at the school that I went, Buckley School, and her husband, Gary Fowler, who came up here before I did, coached at Highland and Centennial, and finally retired as the athletic director of Golden Valley. Even she called and bagged on me or texted and bagged on me. Race has nothing to do with it, Ralph. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I said, with all due respect, Ms. Fowler, because I adore Mrs. Fowler. And I just said, with all due respect, all I was saying is, it's been my life experience that suburbanite black kids don't know crap about agriculture. Isn't that a safe statement? And I mean, the fact that I'm black, I thought, don't y'all know that? Wasn't I just being the master of the obvious? Y'all don't know I'm black? My mom was black. My daddy was black. My grandparents are black. Although you wouldn't know my grandmother on my mother's side, she looked like Native American. She had hair down to her butt. She was very light-skinned, freckles, hence, these little dots on my face. Headed into the 5. Wait till you hear what Phil Mickelson is up to, or what he's no longer up to. This guy is a piece of work. I never liked Phil Mickelson. With the popped collar, remember that when he was young? Never liked him. I would stick around if I you.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN.
Yeah, I'm taking an Uber to
96.1 FM, Dixie,
no way.
Bakersfield,
No
an
way.
American General Media
I
station.
mean, I should suck it out. Damn, it just hurts to be outside.
Another indication from President Trump that the Iran war may be ending.
The president has said a deal would be done quickly before. Why is this different?
Because they've taken a pounding. They've taken a pounding like very few people could take.
The president talked about the high price of oil and gas because of the closure of the Strait of Hormuz.
When oil comes down, everything else comes down. And most importantly, we have a deal that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, which was the whole purpose of what we had to go through to get this.
He believes Iran's supreme leader has signed off on a deal. Ed Donahue, Washington.
Wall Street reacting in an extremely positive way to news a deal has been reached with Iran.
Investors seeing green, the Dow gaining more than 900 points on news President Trump is expected to sign a deal with Iran to end the war. The Nasdaq gaining 640 points, the S&P 500 gaining 127 points. Now, as for oil, U.S. crude futures falling almost 4% to $86.51 a barrel in extended trading.
Correspondent Laura Winters reporting. President Trump says he plans to nominate Jay Clayton, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York and a former Securities and Exchange Commission chairman, as Director of National Intelligence. Mr. Trump announced the nomination on social media Thursday amid pressure from Congress to name a permanent replacement for Tulsi Gabbard, who announced her resignation last month. Trump faced intense pushback over his decision to name Bill Pulte, head of the Federal Housing Finance Agency, as acting director. Again on Wall Street, the Dow up by 929 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Maybe this is you too. There's enormous frustration right now with healthcare costs. It is amazing. Healthcare costs for families in the last 20 years have almost tripled, and it just keeps getting worse. All this to say,
It's only
this is why
$100.
MediShare is so in demand right now. People are looking for
So I got it.
alternatives, and MediShare is
Yeah,
proven
it's
you can
uncomfortable.
save thousands of dollars a year and actually like it more. Over 1 million Americans are now part of healthcare sharing, and MediShare is the gold standard. It's trusted, it works, it's been helping people save money and have peace of mind now for 30 plus years. It's not some big impersonal thing either. It's a community of people like you helping each other. So yeah, if you're frustrated too, here's your chance to make a refreshing change. You'll notice the difference as soon as you call. They're easy to talk to. You can get a price within 2 minutes. Here is the number. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
And you get that sunflower, man. I just took a fucking
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
About the downtown Bakersfield power outage. I'm Chris Davis. That started just a little before 7:30 this morning, and with court about to be in session, the power was knocked out at 2 courthouses, but the jurors were still told to report for jury duty. The outage affected about 800 customers, including buildings on Truxton Avenue. According to PG&E's outage maps, they had not given a cause for the outage. What some of the residents of Bakersfield believe the city should be spending your tax money on, for librarian Ariel Dyer, it's not the flock cameras.
Today I'm speaking on behalf of everyone in Bakersfield who never knew or consented to the massive surveillance infrastructure built and maintained by city leadership. I believe that our right to privacy and transparency supersedes a government's entitlement to surveil their constituents.
She was one of a group of people who spoke to the council at a state-mandated public hearing on the budget, which happened during Wednesday's city council meeting. The public comments followed a presentation on the more than $900 million budget. Eric Oriano says the council should be concerned about people who can't afford the sewer rate increases.
City Council is not doing anything to mitigate the cost impacts that residents will face. And so we're asking that you implement a rate assistance program.
The council voted against approving an assistance program last month. Former Kern County DA Ed Jagel's DUI case will be prosecuted by the Tulare County District Attorney's Office because of the conflict of interest in a prosecution by his former employer. The Kern County DA's office reports 23 ABC. A prepared statement from the Kern County office cited the conflict of interest. Jagels was arrested on a DUI charge June 1st on Stockdale Highway. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
Hollywood's Big Shot's going to give you what you want. Too late. They start shooting in a week. I'm going to make them an offer again.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio. Here's Ralph Bailey.
Oh, dude, don't do it. Don't do it. That's my only rule. Final hour of the broadcast. Don't do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Well, I have to read about you in the newspaper. I'm telling you, the best part of this broadcast is while we're not broadcasting. And you
I don't even know if they could hear me. They
couldn't hear. No, they could. I was mumbling. They couldn't hear what I was saying. Did I even have it on? Yeah, I had it on.
I got it on.
I was talking about my weekend and my frustrations. Life is just a kick in the head. It really, truly is. So Phil Mickelson, I'm not even going to mess with this story. I'm just going to read it to you. I know I don't do this very often, but this is kind of complicated, and I don't want to get it wrong. I don't want to defame Mr. Mickelson, who I never liked. I really didn't. Remember when he won some tournament in Arizona when he was going to school? He was like 19, and he won the tournament, and he played the whole week. You remember how we used to? I never did it, but a lot of kids used to pop their collar in the 80s and I guess in the early 90s as well. And I just never liked the kid. I just never liked him. Never liked him. Then it became a rival of Tiger's, and I hated him. And he's just always been a piece of work. You know, he's harassed the owner of In-N-Out for literally years trying to get a franchise, and she doesn't sell. She's brilliant. She inherited this from her family. All of her family died kind of very near one another, grandparents and her parents and everybody that had a stake in it. She's the only child, and she's a beautiful girl too. And she was smart enough to get the hell out of California. Did you know that? They've taken the center of In-N-Out out of California. She's moved to Tennessee, or it's going to be, I think it's in a year that they're moving. That's just crazy. And she's expanding for the first time to the East Coast, which she had never done. Every Sunday that I play with Mark Swain and the boys, I swing by In-N-Out and get a couple burgers. They're overrated.
I say the same thing.
They really are
super overrated. And if they weren't that cheap, it really wouldn't be that good of a meal.
See, that's the deal.
Yeah, they just don't change their prices.
I get 2 double doubles and a small fry. How much do you think that is?
Maybe $9.
No, it's lower than that. It's like $15.
Is it 15 now? Okay.
But that's 2 burgers.
Yeah, true.
If I Uber eat Carl's Jr., which is going out of business, that's $20, $25.
I cannot believe they're going out of business.
I know. That's what I said. Because back east, they're Hardee's. Hurry on down to Hardee's, where the burgers are charcoal broiled.
They're fantastic.
They really are.
They just are too dang expensive.
Yeah, and I like the 2 burgers I think that are greatly underrated is the Jumbo Jack.
Okay, yeah.
Jumbo Jack's a mean burger. And what were we just talking about?
Hardee's.
Hardee's or Carl's Jr. That charcoal burger. I just can't do it. You know how many grams of fat is in that thing? That's why I can't do Burger King.
Yeah.
There's like 42
Whopper.
grams of fat in a Whopper, in a single Whopper.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do a double. If I do burgers now, I'm a Juicy Burger guy. It's right down the street from me. That's one of my favorites.
See, my gluttonous problem here is anytime there's an opportunity for a triple, I go 3.
Really?
Yeah. I don't get it. Like, I maybe go to a fast food restaurant now once a month, maybe.
I eat too much In-N-Out. Just about every Sunday I play with the boys, I stop at In-N-Out because it's early.
Yeah.
You know, I would never, if we teed off at 8:30, I would never go to In-N-Out because we'd be done about 12:31 and no Uber driver would wait for the 15, 20 minutes it would take. But we're done. We tee off at 7:20. We're done by 11. We kind of shoot the crap for like 15, 20 minutes. So I'm there at 11:30. They just open. What do they open? Like 10:30?
Something like that.
And it's still like 10 minutes. But Uber drivers will hang on for 10 minutes. And I tell them, I'm going to hook you up. And the line is not, it hasn't circled back around yet at 11:30. It's only like straight down. Because every time I've ever seen it, it's a U-shaped line. But again, at 11:30, it's not that bad. It really is not that bad. But yeah, if we teed off an hour later, I would never stop there. Because it'd be a 20-minute wait. Easy. All right, so let me read you the Phil Mickelson situation. What's going on here? Please stand by. Phil Mickelson has reportedly been banned from a golf club near his San Diego home after he was accused of having an inappropriate interaction earlier this year with one of the establishment's female employees. Mickelson approached a woman at the Farms Golf Club in Rancho Santa Fe just prior to one of his rounds and, quote, made non-consensual and inappropriate physical contact with her, according to Golf Digest. The woman rejected his advances and reported the matter to her supervisors a short time later. Quote, club officials took the allegation seriously and moved quickly, according to Golf Digest. Mickelson was confronted about the issue while he was in the middle of his round and, quote, told to vacate the premises. Wow. Talk about believing all women. They didn't even have like let's sit down with Mr. Mickelson. They got in a golf cart, went to the 9th hole, said, get the hell off our golf course. Good for them. Why would she lie? And good for them for standing up for their employees. Why would she make that up? Why would she want to take, she's probably 20, 19? What 20-year-old wants to take on Phil Mickelson, who's probably, down in Rancho Cucamonga in La Jolla where he grew up? He's probably the king of that community. Mickelson was confronted about the issue. Okay, I read that. Mickelson declined to comment on the allegations, according to Golf Digest, but a spokesperson for the 3-time Masters champion told the outlet, quote, any misunderstanding has been cleared up. misunderstanding. You put your hands on a 19-year-old, apparently. What could possibly be misunderstood about that? I mean, if you didn't touch her, then there's no issue. And what is he claiming, that it was a friendly hug? And that's my problem. I always have, I told you I was at casino night and I met a lot of different people, and I'm a hugger. Especially having a couple cocktails. And it's always like, should I hug this person? Like my boss was in here, Lena Andrews. I'm doing some side work for KCCD, has been for like 2-3 years. And I didn't know she was coming. And I didn't know, should I hug her? But she's kind of like my boss.
Right.
But I think I did hug her, but I'm always kind of wary about, because I'm a hugger. I grew up in that era post Tommy Lasorda. You know, it was Tommy Lasorda that started hugging in sports. Men did not hug each other in sports before Tommy Lasorda. I'm serious about that, because I read an article about it in Sports Illustrated, how Tommy Lasorda was the only manager in baseball that hugged his players when they would come back to the dugout. That used to, and players used to, 10, high five, but people didn't hug each other. Now Tommy kind of made it popular. Anyway, Klein Mickelson has been married to his wife Amy for 30 years. This is the woman who he stayed with through breast cancer, and I just don't understand that. Like, if you've been with your wife for 30 years and you're trying to get strange, why don't you just say, hey, let's just stay together for the sake of staying together, but I'm doing my thing, or let's divorce and go our separate ways. But instead, she's got to read about him filleting around with a girl at the golf course. And it's like what I said about Kobe. If Kobe, as you well know, and I don't mean to speak ill of the dead, it's the only comparison I have, but if Kobe was willing to hook up with a girl that he just met at the front desk of a Denver hotel, what else was he doing? You know what I'm saying? And if you're trying to hook up or trying to make inappropriate advances to a girl at your local golf course, then what the hell are you doing at the bar that you hang out with? Or, I mean, it's just a really bad look for a guy. The Farms Golf Club, meanwhile, said in a statement that all of its members are required to adhere to our code of conduct, and any allegations of misconduct are taken seriously. Following a staff member report of member misconduct, the club provided immediate and ongoing support to the staff member, conducted a thorough independent investigation of the incident, and took decisive action, a rep from the Farms told Golf Digest. The individual is no longer a member of the Farms Club. The Farms Club conducts thorough reviews of all reported matters according to California law and takes appropriate action when warranted, consistent with our commitment to integrity, excellence, and accountability. To protect the safety and privacy of our staff and members, we are unable to speak further on this matter. We appreciate your understanding. Mickelson has been away from the professional golf since he announced in February that he needed to tend to a family matter. His spokesman said he's continuing to attend to that matter and is uncertain when he will be able to return to professional golf. Mickelson has had a long-standing relationship with the Farms. According to Golf Digest, he played there regularly over the years, and it also, quote, served as his primary training ground before major championships. He actually had a display inside of the business clubhouse, though Golf Digest, I just lost it. Though Golf Digest, I can't even read it. Well, you get the gist of the story. He's a mess. He's a mess. Let's find out something. Hey, Siri, how old is Phil Mickelson?
Phil Mickelson is
55 years old. Screwing around your wife, 55 years old. I just don't get it. That's why I never got married, because I knew I would screw it up. I was faithful. I've been faithful to like 3 of my 7 serious girlfriends. I was a horrible human being in my youth, and I just knew I would screw it up, and she's going to get half my stuff in the house, and no, I'm not doing this. If you're at that point, at 55 and 30 years of marriage, stop groping the cart girls and get a life. This guy's a degenerate gambler. And like I said, he's been trying to buy this In-N-Out franchise for years, and he got into trouble at some casinos where he owed them money, and just this guy is just a train wreck. Let's go ahead and take a break, come back, check the board. Dodgers blew a 5-run lead last night. They were killing the Pirates, 6-1. Ryan Ward hit a grand slam. This kid's the real deal. You see what I'm talking about? It's more than just the money. The Dodger minor league system is incredible. All these kids that we're bringing up that are doing incredibly well. This kid, what's the third baseman that we DFA'd, but we brought him back? Santiago.
Saldengado, something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember his last name, but he's doing well. It's all of the components that make us have like the third best. You know what our lead is in the West? Take a guess.
4.5.
7.5 games up on the Padres.
Well,
that's why it's all about September and October. And we're not even healthy. We're not even 100% healthy. The only bad spot, I'll tell you about it when we come back. Plus, Knicks Spurs. 3-1 lead for the Knicks. It should be 3-1 Spurs. It really should be. You're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230. We stream live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio
Luigi's
and AM 1230 KERN.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. Let their story unfold and gain a competitive advantage, because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. Hire skills first. Learn why at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
Another great way to beat the heat this weekend, particularly during the day, is to head to Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen. Now, let me tell you the best way to attack Luigi's, or at least how I attack Luigi's. You got to start in the deli. You absolutely have to start in the deli, because everything that is the 116-year-old restaurant began in the deli. It was actually a food provider from Gino's grandfather, great-grandfather, just providing food for the people in the community, the other Italians that were in the community. And then became a grocery store for those folks, and now it's an incredible deli. Lynette will be in there. She's a specialist in Italian wine. She is an incredible sommelier. Ask her about some of the Italian wines. Check out the merch. It would be a great gift for your grandchildren or your children. And then head in to see Julie in the bar, have a couple of cocktails before you get seated. Sitting outside by the Bailey Bar, have a wonderful time, and just enjoy one of the best restaurants in America. It's Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show. Hey, it's that man again for Sangera Subaru. You know, the world's biggest tournament is here. And this summer, Sangera Subaru is bringing all the excitement home. So they're kicking it off with some incredible offers on new Subarus all month long. Right now, lease a 2026 Outback Premium CVT for $229 a month for 36 months and $5,014 due at signing. Plus, every Subaru comes standard with symmetrical all-wheel drive. So don't miss your chance to drive something new during soccer's biggest event of the summer going on right now at Sangera Subaru. So stop by, see my good friends Damon Culbertson and Hassan Levy, and test drive a brand new Subaru. Sangera Subaru, paving the way for a better community. 5500 Gasoline Alley Drive in the Bakersville Auto Mall.
Lease 2026 Subaru Outback Premium CVT with TSRP $37,287, $229 per month plus tax, 36 months. Total lease payments $8,805, $5,014 total due at lease signing. Includes first month payment, excludes tax, title, license, and $85 down fee. Total lease cost $13,869, excludes tax and fees, no security deposit. Lease based on 7.
Are you asking, did I?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I was like, was I reading that fast?
No, it was me. I had to speed you up like 2 or 3 seconds so I could get the disclaimer in there.
And they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-498-6548. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-498-6548. That's 800-498-6548. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Be sure to check in with the JR Flores Show tomorrow. He's got gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton on his program tomorrow. That'd be interesting. The one man that says there's no fraud. Because he's the one Republican that won. He didn't see any problem with the election, but they're still screaming problems down in Los Angeles and California, I suppose. I just don't understand how charlatans can perpetuate that lie. I understand how you all, just based on what the information you get, might jump to that conclusion. And like we've said, the state has to change the way we do things. Even Democrats are willing to admit that the manner in which we elect our people here in the state of California lends to people to believe that there's some kind of business going on. The fact that we wait 7 days after the election, as long as it gets in before 8 o'clock, it's postmarked, that we'll wait till the following Tuesday to still count votes, it's crazy. It's a really simple solution. We all vote on the same day. We make it a holiday, so no one has to work, even though it's written into the law that your boss has to give you an hour off on election day to vote. That's in the law. Now, I know some have precarious jobs. Last thing you want to do is push the envelope and bug HR and say, look, it's the law. You have to give this to me. So we should make it a holiday. Let's make it a holiday. And I'm willing to go as far as Saturday. You know what I'm saying? In terms of this extended voting that many states do, including us. I'm willing to go to Saturday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4 days. There's no excuse. But these week-long elections that go on, and again, you've heard my argument against that, things happen. Because let me tell you something. There's going to be another shoe to drop in the Graham Plattner bio. I can almost guarantee it. I obviously can't guarantee it, but my speculation is something else is going to drop. Another woman will come out and say she was abused, or somebody will have some evidence that, of course, he knew about his Nazi symbol on his chest that he claims that he had on for 18 years, but had no clue what it meant. No clue. But he wore it proudly. And another thing that nobody's talking about is this Kick app that everybody says is a freeway for pedophiles. Why is anybody talking about that? Have you seen the picture that he took for this app? He's in a towel. He's got his Nazi symbol covered. But I thought he didn't know what it meant. So why isn't he proud of it? Because, of course, he knew what it meant. Again, who gets something emblazoned on their body and doesn't understand its meaning? That is like that's what's so incredible. There are lies, and then there are dumb lies. Like there are lies where you're like, oh, okay, maybe. And then there are lies like, oh, Negro, please. And I clean that up. I don't know why. 842-5376, 842-KERN. So the Anthony family down in Texas with Carmelo Anthony have appealed this case. They're not only appealing his sentencing, 35 years, but they're appealing the conviction. I don't see how there's a chance in hell they overturn this thing. They're going at it, take a guess, racially. They're saying that the 3 teachers that were eliminated, who were all African-American, were eliminated not because they were educators who would give love to a young student, which is the reason that was given, which is a very plausible reason. But of course, they're saying that they were eliminated because they were Black. Now, I heard one expert say this morning, well, if there was a teacher on the jury, they might have standing. Because you can't say we got rid of them because they're teachers, and then there's a white teacher on the jury. So maybe there's a small glimmer of hope for the Anthony family, but his lawyers blew any opportunity, I believe, I'm not sure Teresa Golder, our judge, agrees with me, but I think they blew every opportunity, if there was a glimmer of hope for a Hail Mary, in not allowing the young man to testify. You can't say, I was scared for my life. I thought these three white kids, the twins, the dead Austin Metcalf and his brother, and some other kid apparently, were going to kill me, and say it through your attorney. In my opinion, it's just not effective. If you truly believe this, as he boasted when he was in handcuffs, yeah, I did it. I told the kid, don't put his hands on me. He did, and I put a knife in his chest. Then you've got to stand up on the stand and tell your story. And I think it sends an awful message to the jury that you're hiding the kid. If he truly was in fear of his life and he truly was just scared out of his wits, even though he could have done what I do, what do I do when I get into a fight situation, Mr. Burdick?
Hit them over the head with an anvil?
Run!
Oh.
Run! If you're in a rival team's tent and they tell you to get out, and now they're surrounding you and they're going to physically harm you, you either put up your dukes or you do what Ralph Bailey does. Run! Run! You want to see the yellow streak down my back? I'm the biggest coward in the world, man. I haven't had a fight in 20, 30 years. Are you kidding me? That thing in Casey's Steakhouse was not a fight. I saw somebody put up one day, oh, you mean that guy that kicked your behind at the Casey's Steakhouse? He didn't kick my behind. He sucker punched me. He ambushed me. That ain't a fight. I turned around and got hit in the face twice. That's not a fight. That's called an ambush. I haven't been in a fight. What was the last fight I was in? Ooh, I got in a fight at Alley Cat one night. That was, and I can't lie because I'm a coward, scared to death. Guy pushed me up against the wall and put his hand on my neck and had me up against the wall like this. And at that point, you got to throw hands. And I just cut him right in the gut and knocked the wind out of him and then pushed him. And what did I do then, Mr. Burdick?
Ran.
Run! No, I just sauteed. I just kind of quickly walked out. And then I got to the door and I was like, that's right. And then I ran. It's a true story. Quick time out. Final half hour of the broadcast. Don't go anywhere.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
I was doing TV too. I was scared to death I was going to lose my damn
President
job.
Trump said Thursday he had called off new military strikes on Iran, claiming a breakthrough in negotiations to end the war just hours after the American leader threatened to escalate the conflict by seizing control of Iran's oil industry.
Hey, Siri.
A massive UFC event is set to take over the White House's South Lawn. The temporary arena resembles a cross between a UFO and a claw game in a video arcade. It features an 8-sided cage and a towering structure of lights, speakers, and wiring called the Claw. The event celebrates President Trump's 80th birthday and the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. On Wall Street, the Dow by 929 points. The Nasdaq rose 640. More details at srnnews.com.
It is so different.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. Concerns from citizens about how city tax money will be spent in Bakersfield.
Publish camera locations and usage logs. Hold public hearings before any renewal. Commit that no new surveillance technology comes to Bakersfield without hearings.
Jason Cosper is one of several people who spoke at a public hearing during Wednesday's city council meeting about the proposed nearly $1 billion city budget. Other people were concerned about public safety and cost of living, with one suggestion that the council revisit a public assistance program for people who can't afford the sewer rate increases. The Kern County DA's office is declining to prosecute former DA Ed Jagels on his DUI charge from June 1st, reports 23 ABC, citing conflicts of interest. Instead, it'll be prosecuted by the Tulare County DA. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head, and the total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
In 2026, Bay Alarm celebrates 80 years of security.
What is it, 2-2?
With burglar and fire alarm systems, 24/7 in-house monitoring, and local service. Our promise to the Central Valley remains the same. We got you. Learn more at bayalarm.com.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry. Where'd you learn this?
It's on
SmokeyBear.com.
She said they won the first championship.
Right.
And 5
Thanks,
of the
honey
wives were
bear.
pregnant.
Because remember, only
now
you
5
can
of the
prevent
wives are pregnant.
wildfires.
So
Brought
it
to you
says
by
it's
the
a
USDA
done
Forest
deal.
Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Hey, folks, Scott Cox here, host
Yeah,
of the First
that's
Look
what
with
I
Scott
said,
Cox
right.
radio program. You are listening to the
Six 842 KERN. Let's check the board again. Anything?
Got a couple.
What do you got?
The Elks Hills Petroleum Naval Reserve. Clinton gave it to Al Gore's Occidental Petroleum.
Did he really? That I didn't know. But it was also the nucleus, the focus of the Teapot Dome scandal that didn't really, because Warren Harding died in office, had a heart attack. He was a big, lanky man. We started talking about Warren Harding and Teapot Dome because somebody was talking about the sex aspect of character and boop, 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 boop. And I said, that's not my issue with Graham Plattner. Because again, the sex thing, I've never really considered the sex thing a factor. Again, I'm growing up with John Kennedy as my favorite president. So I can't possibly give a damn about a leader. And I'm a disciple of sorts of Dr. King, who I grew up as a teenager. Remember, I've told you this, that I grew up around a bunch of Morehouse men. My father and 2 of his best friends were Morehouse men. And they would sit around and talk about Morehouse and talk about Dr. King. And so I'm 14, 15 years old when I found out that Dr. King was a philanderer. I didn't learn that at school. They didn't teach that at the Buckley School or at Brentwood High School. I was like, what? And I remember challenging my dad. I'm like, you guys are making that up. He was a pastor. And if that were true, everybody would know about it. My dad was like, no, sir. And then the further we got away from his death, the more people started reporting on that and his problems with some attribution issues with some of the stuff that he wrote when he was at Boston University, meaning that he plagiarized them. Because if you don't attribute your stuff, that's, and it can just be a simple misattribution or lack thereof, and you may not be meaning to plagiarize, but it's pretty damn serious. We had a kid at our school, Brentwood, that damn near got tossed out of school because it became a pattern with him, where he thought he could get away with it, where he was using other people's words. And it was finally Sarah Wallace, my favorite English teacher of all time, who flat out busted him. And you know how she caught him? She had him read one of his paragraphs and she recited it back to him because she found out the source that he used. And she quoted him word for word as he was reading his thing. And she literally, in the middle of class, had him stand up and read it. His name was Brian McDonald. He was a rich, pretty boy who, anyway, and she had him stand up and start reading the thing. And she picked up a piece of paper and started joining him as he was reading. Based on the fact that discussions in the Islamic Republic of Iran, see, I've got it right here too, Brian. You know where I've got it? Because I looked it up. And that's Ralph Waldo Emerson that you're quoting, or whatever the hell it was. And she said, go see Mr. Loy, and threw him out of the class in the middle of the class. And she then turned to us and was like, see how serious plagiarism is? Brian may not graduate. And we all looked at each other like, that boy's family got so much money, there ain't no way in the world the Brentwood School ain't passing that boy. And he did. He certainly did. Private schools, man, I saw some funky stuff going on. I hope my friends aren't listening, particularly Donald Diamont. Donald Diamont, the big-time actor, he's still on Bold and the Beautiful. He was on Young and the Restless for years. Most women, I bet, know what I'm talking about. It was Brad Carlton and best friends with Cal Ripken. It makes me sick. But he was flunking out of high school. He was flunking out. He was doing the Thaddeus Bailey. I know for a fact because he would tell me. And that son of a gun graduated like a champ because the Feinbergs, let's just put it this way, were very kind to the Brentwood School. And he walked like a champ. And I resented the hell out of him because they were going to stop me from graduating simply because I didn't want to write my senior thesis. And yet this guy's getting F's and he's walking across the stage. Money talks, Jackson. Money talks. What else you got?
Missed the top of the hour, so forgive me if this has been stated already. There was a California cardiologist who received 8 months yesterday for a deadly hit and run in Fresno.
No, I didn't. I don't.
Aware of this one?
Yeah, I don't really cover Fresno. I really don't give a doggone what happens in Fresno. But I guess that's interesting. Thanks for sharing. God, I can't stand Fresno. I don't know
I'm not
why.
a fan.
It's just a bigger, more busier, more gang-infested, more crime-rated Bakersfield, basically.
All 100%.
It really is. I mean, there's some nice areas. We've been up there several times.
But we have nice areas, too.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I love Westchester.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite neighborhood. The Northeast is gorgeous. I'm not a Southwest or Northwest guy.
Yeah,
I lived in both.
Still to the eye, though, is pretty.
Yeah, it just, I don't know why I don't like the Southwest or the Northwest. It's so busy.
Yeah.
You know, they've got so many malls and there's so many chains, and that's why I just love downtown. Because every restaurant I go to downtown is family owned.
Oh, yeah.
Every single one of them. Name a restaurant that I go to. Mexicali, family owned. I'm going to Bill Lee's on Saturday night. Family owned. I didn't know the original owner. I knew Brandon and Brian's father, who was incredibly kind to me, and now Brandon. I know them. In fact, I used to date Brandon's wife's, one of Brandon's wife's best friends. While I was dating her, I was all excited. I was like, okay, I met at Bill Lee's. In fact, a friend of mine just told me that she got married. I was like, good for her. Good for her. Eureka's, family owned. Family owned. Everything downtown is family owned. Not a big Mamma Mia guy, but that's locally owned as well. I mean, most of the restaurants downtown are locally owned. What was the question though? Where was I going? You remember what the question was?
No, they were talking about Fresno.
Yeah, we don't give a damn about Fresno. I don't give a damn about Fresno. What else you got?
Last night, CBS stated despite the 4.2% inflation rate, if you remove fuel from that, inflation only rose at least 0.2%, which is very good as it relates to the economy.
I think the economy, given all that's going on, is miraculous. Absolutely miraculous. Now, the only issue, obviously, is the cost of living. And for folks that don't get raises, certainly not cost of living raises or raises, period. That hurts. You know, my Uber rides that were $8 are now $10. My Uber Eats that was once $21 is now $24. I mean, it's showing up. It really is. But beyond that, you're absolutely right. You have stumbled staggeringly, haphazardly into the truth. The economy's doing amazingly. I couldn't be happier about my 401k. A little depressed about that silver and gold report that Daniel gave us. I'm heavily invested in both. And they both took a bath after just killing for so long. I mean, silver was at like almost $80 at one point. What did Daniel say? It was in the 60s? And gold is now in the 40s? That hurts a brother, man. I'm thinking 10 years from now, that hurts a brother. But yeah, you're right. The economy's doing miraculously. What else?
That's such a bummer. Carl's Jr. is such a great place. Sad to see them go.
You know what I like, Carl's Jr.? The fried zucchini.
Yeah, that was good.
The fried zucchini is pretty good.
When they had it, the chili cheese fries were really good too.
Oh, you're killing me. I can't even contemplate doing that.
I know.
Chili cheese fries.
They're so good.
You know who else has got really good chili cheese fries? Although you're not supposed to do it, is Tommy's.
Yeah.
Tommy's, because their chili is what makes the burger.
Yeah.
And the chili cheese fries are just stupid. God.
Because don't they have the thicker fries too, like the steak style fries?
Yes, that I love. I love the steak
so it's
fries.
like a scoop for the
Exactly. It's like a chip. Yeah, you can absolutely clean your plate with those big ass fries. Love me some Tommy's. You know, they just had their I forget what anniversary, and so they went back to the original prices, which was like when I was a kid going to Tommy's as a high school kid. I think the burgers were like $2.50, $3. I mean, crazy.
God, that would be nice.
Oh, dude, we would sit there. I mean, like all night. As a kid, I mean, our appetite. I look back, dude. I used to eat on the regular for breakfast 4 eggs, 4 pieces of toast, and 4 pieces of bacon. I would throw up if I tried to eat 4 eggs right now. You know what I'm saying? And I was doing this on the regular, and I was a skinny kid. They listed me on the football team at $1.65. Please. I was $1.50 dripping wet. Are you kidding? And ate like that because we were so incredibly active. We weren't sitting on our arse on phones. We were doing something because our parents, if you were inside the house, you were doing something. And I don't mean watching TV. If you were in the house in the middle of the day, my mother would be like, "What are you doing? You not doing anything? Well, get a mop and go do the kitchen." I'd be like, damn. So we stayed out the house. We climbed trees. We rode our bikes. And the thing we'd love to do, we try to go as far as we could and see if we could get back, because you had to be back in time for what?
The lights to come on.
The street lights. You come and you're not in the house when the street lights came on. Harriet Bailey was in the middle of the yard screaming, "Ralph Emerson Bailey Jr., get your narrow behind." Always, whenever I was in trouble with my behind, all of a sudden got narrow. Get your narrow behind in this house, boy. And you just, that's 2 days of ribbing from your friends. If your mother comes out with curlers in her hair, screaming at you, using your government name.
Oh, the middle name always gets you.
The middle name always gets you. Emerson? I didn't know your middle name was Emerson. That's what we're going to call him now. Hi, Emerson. I was like, why did my mother name me? No, I never blamed my mother. I always blamed my grandmother. She's the one that named my dad Ralph Emerson because she was an English teacher. And like I always say, thank God she left out the Waldo. That's all I'm going to say. But think about the names that my grandmother named her children. Charles Samuel, my oldest uncle, still alive, 1010 North Street, Beaufort, South Carolina. I get that. Charles Samuel. That's a great name. In fact, I was going to name my son Charles Samuel the third, I guess it'd be. And then Ralph Emerson. Again, my dad was born in 1942. Like, that's one of the names that are almost obsolete now. No parent names their child Ralph in the 21st century. And then the classic was my uncle, who was born 4 years later. Irving, not Irvin, like magic, Erearvin. Irving, like a Jewish accountant, Irving. And get the middle name, Irving Herman. a black man born in 1946 named Irving Herman Bailey. I don't know what Sadie Bailey was thinking, but Irving Herman. Final break of the night as we wrap this thing up, head into Friday with Mr. Rick Bentley at 3:30. And I believe that's all we've got booked, but based on my week, we might have another guest for all I know. All I am is the executive producer. All I do is reach out and book the people, so I have no clue. We might have somebody else. Got to tune in and find out. Man's losing it. I'm telling you. Losing it. Losing it. In the meantime, keep it locked. Scott Jennings at the top of the hour. And you're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we stream live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
I'm John Busby with Team Busby Real Estate.
And I'm Jonathan Busby with Team Busby Real Estate.
We just wanted to talk with you about what we do as a team. We do a great job for our clients. Some of the things that we do is when we represent sellers, we don't just put the transaction together. We do our homework and we check their FICO score, source of funds, where the money's coming from, and the job stability. Because what we don't want is to get you into an escrow and the escrow falls out because we didn't do our homework.
With any sort of real estate need that you have, we can accommodate, whether it's residential, commercial, land, or multi-units. We have experience in all and can help you to a successful close.
The background that we have is I was a lender for 5 years, and so I learned quite a bit as far as how to keep a transaction together. We don't just put it together and hope that it closes escrow. Nothing's 100%, but we do stack it in your favor.
With any needs or questions with real estate, give us a call at 661-410-7355 or visit our website at www.teambusby.com.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and
Three, two. Want to thank Ambassador Jamieson Greer, our U.S. Trade Representative, for coming on the program. Man, we are on a roll. We have got to milk this connection with the Trump administration. We've had the Agriculture Secretary on, Brooke Rollins. We had the Labor Secretary, Keith Sunderling. I'm telling you, we're pointing at the big guy. Please stay tuned. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Friday TRBS. Well, it's a Friday, so Rick Bentley, KGE entertainment reporter, will join us. Plus, we'll talk more about the NHL Finals, Carolina and Vegas, and preview Saturday's Game 5, San Antonio and the Knicks. All that and me at 3. It's TRBS, News Talk 96.1 at AM 1230. I'll see you at 3.
Services and medical and surgical care. They accept most insurances, including Medi-Cal, Medicare, and Kern Family. They offer Kern County's longest standing inpatient detox program with dual diagnosis that combines medical care and withdrawal management all under one roof. Learn more at GoodSamaritanHospital.com or call 661-215-7500. Good Samaritan Hospital. They care for their community.
Wake up, y'all. This here's Mia the Mosquito. Me and my girls are back and ready to chew up Kern County. You know we like a good party.
Help fight the bite, Kern County. Dump all standing water and remember to apply insect repellent. If you do have a mosquito problem, visit kernmosquito.com. It's a free service.
Or don't, and we can all hang out together like we did last year, leaving your windows and doors open.
Visit kernmosquito.com. Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Recapping our top story, the president has canceled attacks on Iran and says that we are close to a deal with Iran. Here is the president. I don't think we played this yet. Here is the president on comments regarding the deal.
We just had this hour from town.
Hang on a second.
I was cutting up the best stuff there. Give me 1 second.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I'll be blunt. I'll be surprised if we come in here on Monday and there's a deal. I'm just saying. But nevertheless, here's the president.
We just made a great settlement of the war with Iran, and we're going to be subject to finalization of documents, which should get done over the next few days. Probably have a signing maybe in Europe, and it's a great thing.
I mean, he's already predicting where the signing will be. The audio goes on. He says, I'm not going to go, but we're going to send J.D. Vance. We're going to send the vice president. I hope he's right. I hope he's right. Because, again, the national media and the Democrats will be all over him. If Monday morning, if I come in here at 2:30 Friday, Monday afternoon, and there's no deal, they're going to blow him up. And then I think you're going to start seeing some pushback by Republicans. Because the closer we get to midterms, the more in jeopardy a lot of those people's careers are, and that's all they give a damn about. If we're still in a conflict with them, what did I say? I said like October, I think, September, October. The midterms are in November. If we hit the fall, if school starts back up and we're still engaging in this thing, going back and forth, and now the number of times the president has said we're close to a deal goes from 38 to 63, the Republicans are going to get wiped out. There was an opportunity for us to maybe save the bacon with all the gerrymandering, the redistricting that was going on. There was a way we could stave off what was expected to be by the pundits to be an absolute blue wave. But one of the things that's going to be fun to watch is those 4 states that the Democrats want to switch the Senate. Because again, it's about the filibuster. That's what it's all about. This whole election is about the filibuster. The biggest thorn in the butts of Democrats is the United States Supreme Court. That's the thing that drives them more crazy than ICE, immigration, Trump in general. Just the idea that he's got that court in his hand at 6-3 majority drives them nuts. And the first thing they're going to do, and if you don't believe this, you're being naive, is they're going to get control of the Senate if, in fact, they win in Maine, Ohio, where Sherrod Brown is winning, the Democrat, beating John, I forget his, Husted. They think they've got a shot in Texas with James Tellerico. I don't think so. Ken Paxton is a god-awful. Remember, he's the I candidate. He's been indicted, he's been impeached, and he's an infidel. But I still think it's Texas. And the bizarre Republican attack on Tellerico, he's 37 years old, he's never been married, and he looks like he's 12. He's got a boyish face. So they're making up these memes that he's a transsexual and that he's gay, and that could rebound against you. That really could. That could send independents towards Tellerico. People that aren't dedicated MAGA folks who aren't going to believe that and think it's a tacky way to attack a guy. Attack is what he believes. And he's ripe for the picking. He's a man who has said that God is non-binary and that there's 6 genders. Hit him on that. Hit him on being just a woke, out of touch liberal in Texas. But remember that I told you months ago about that Texas seat that went to a Democrat, a Texas seat, congressional seat, that Trump won by 17 points. And the Democrat in Texas went in that very district and not only won, but won by 14 points, a 31-point swing. And again, Paxton has got a lot of baggage. And if we're going to make a big deal out of Graham Plattner, you know the Democratic Party, the DNC, is going to come in and make a big deal out of that. And they're going up against a pastor. So this whole homosexual rap ain't going to work. And the compare and contrast to a finagling, philandering husband and a pastor is tough to beat. Plus, we're vulnerable in Iowa. Joni Ernst has left. and Tom Tillis is left down in North Carolina. And they want to switch the Senate so they can get rid of the filibuster. And then with 51 votes, they can pack the court, get 15 jurists, all liberal, obviously, the 6 that they would add. And they're going to make Washington, District of Columbia, and Puerto Rico state. And I really think that's crazy, Ralph. That's not going to happen. Let me tell you something. As I've said redundantly, the D.C. statehood movement was part of my experience when I was at Morehouse College in the 1980s. There were 2 issues in the early 80s when I was in Atlanta, and that was stopping apartheid in South Africa and making D.C. a state. They're going to do this. So it is vital. And that's why, because again, if it wasn't about reclaiming the Senate, they wouldn't give a damn about Graham Plattner, or they wouldn't give a damn about Maine, and they wouldn't back this guy. But that's what it's about. It's about power. It's about getting rid of the filibuster and doing whatever the Sam Hill they want post-Trump, or really in the midst of Trump, really. And it's going to be a tough situation for the Republicans because remember, Trump has alienated 3 sitting senators. He's stopped the career of Dr. Bill Cassidy. He stopped the career of Tom Tillis, and he stopped the career of John Cornyn down in Texas. Problem is, they get to serve till November. So good luck getting legislation through. And that's why I think that he pulled the plug on Bill Pulte as DNI head, the director of national intelligence, and put in U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton. All right, I got to take the long walk. I'm going to try to walk over to Coconut Joe's, Jack. I'm going to try to do it. If you don't hear from me, Chris, come look for me on Easton Drive. Want to thank Ambassador Jamieson Greer, our good friend Daniel Petrie, and all of you for joining us again. Tomorrow's a Friday. Mr. Bentley will be here from KGET. And given my track record, who knows who else is going to pop up on our broadcast, but hope you will as well. Headed into a busy weekend. Tell you all about it tomorrow. But in the meantime, for Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on, and I will rap to you tomorrow.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN, 96.1 FM, K241CI, Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
This hour from Town Hall, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump says he's close to a deal with Iran for ending the war.
We just made a great settlement of the war with Iran, and we're going to be subject to finalization of documents, which should get done over the next few days. Probably have a signing maybe in Europe.
The president said in a social media post Thursday that he made the move based on the fact that discussions with the Islamic Republic of Iran have been brought to the highest level of Iranian leadership and approved. Trump also suggested that progress had been made in talks to extend the fragile ceasefire. A major spectacle on the White House lawn this weekend is taking shape.
A temporary arena called The Claw is expected to seat about 4,000 people for the 7 UFC fights being staged Sunday on the White House lawn to celebrate the 80th birthday of President Donald Trump and the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence.
The number of foreign leaders that want to come to this is unbelievable. It's to the point where we may have a diplomatic crisis.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio. More than $60 million and tens of thousands of hours of labor have been poured into building the arena. The event will go on, rain or shine. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Severe storms that swept through the Midwest knocked out power to hundreds of thousands of customers, damaged buildings, and canceled flights, with new tornadoes touching down late Thursday in communities outside Chicago. The National Weather Service says tornadoes